The text message was pathetic. I knew it was pathetic when I typed it. I knew it was pathetic when I read it back to myself 7 times, each repetition confirming what a coward I was. And I knew it was pathetic when I pressed send at 11:47 p.m. on a Sunday night. Then immediately shoved my phone under my pillow like that would somehow erase the evidence of my spinelessness. Hey, I've been thinking. This long-distance thing isn't working for me. I think we should see other people. Sorry. 6 months. 183 days of late-night calls that stretched until dawn. Video dates where we ordered the same takeout from different cities and ate together through screens. Texts that ranged from playful banter to soul-bearing confessions. 6 months of falling for a woman I'd never met in person. And I ended it with 3 sentences and a half-hearted apology typed on a virtual keyboard that I didn't even use her name. Sophia Chen deserved better. I knew that with absolute certainty. She was brilliant, ambitious, and clearly destined for things far beyond my modest existence as a mid-level project manager at a regional tech firm that no one outside our industry had ever heard of. She talked about board meetings and quarterly earnings like they were second nature. I talked about deadline extensions and coffee machine maintenance that we were from different worlds. I'd known that from the start, but knowing it didn't make the decision any easier. Better to end it cleanly, quickly, cruelly. Even that's what I told myself as I drifted into a restless sleep, the guilt already coiling in my stomach like a snake. Monday morning arrived with all the grace of a punch to the face, then my alarm screamed at 6:30 a.m. I slapped it silent and lay there, staring at the water-stained ceiling of my studio apartment, the weight of last night's decision pressing down on my chest like a concrete slab. I checked my phone. No response from Sophia. No angry texts. No missed calls. Nothing that she'd probably read my message. Called me every name in the book. Deleted my number. And moved on with her life. That's what I told myself. That's what I needed to believe to get out of bed. The shower was lukewarm. Same as always. The coffee was bitter. Same as always. The toast I forced down tasted like cardboard. Same as always. Everything was the same as always. Except for the gaping hole in my chest where 6 months of connection used to be. The L train was packed. As usual, I stood crushed between a man reading a newspaper in Spanish and a woman applying mascara with the steady hand of a surgeon. The fluorescent lights flickered. The wheels screeched against the tracks. New York City was doing its Monday morning routine, completely indifferent to my personal drama that I arrived at the office at 8:45 a.m., 15 minutes early by my standards. The coffee in the break room was fresh for once. I poured myself a cup and headed to my cubicle, ready to bury myself in spreadsheets and pretend the outside world didn't exist. Yet that's when I noticed something was wrong. The office was buzzing. Not the usual Monday morning shuffle of zombie-like employees dragging themselves to their desks. This was different. People were clustered in groups, whispering. Phones were being passed around. The energy was electric, tense, expectant. Dude, Mike's hand clamped onto my arm as I passed his desk. Did you hear? Hear what? New VP. Just announced. She's starting today. His eyes were wide, practically bugging out of his head. Apparently she's from corporate. Some kind of restructuring thing. Great. Another suit who's going to reorganize our department and leave in 6 months when they realize we're not Manhattan.no. Man, this one's different. Mike lowered his voice to a conspiratorial whisper. I saw her picture on the corporate website. She's, memorable. I rolled my eyes. Focus on the work. Mike, not the appearance. Easy for you to say. You're not the one who has to report to her. Wait. Report to her? Yeah. She's taking over operations. That means she's your new direct supervisor. He clapped me on the shoulder with a grin that bordered on sadistic. Good luck, buddy. Meeting in the conference room in 10 minutes. Mandatory attendance. My stomach dropped. A new boss. Just what I needed on top of the guilt and regret already curdling in my gut like sour milk that I walked into the conference room at exactly 9 a.m. The room was packed. At least 20 people from our department, plus a handful of executives from the floor above who normally never deigned to visit our humble regional office. The energy was tense, expectant, like the air before a thunderstorm. I found a seat near the back, next to Sarah from accounting. She was typing furiously on her phone, probably gossiping to someone about the new arrival. Any intel? I whispered, just rumors. She's young. Like, scary young for a VP. Early 30s. Maybe. And she came from the parent company's flagship office in Chicago. Sarah glanced at me, her eyebrows raised. Word is she requested this transfer personally. Requested? Who requests a transfer to our regional office? We're the Siberia of this company. Someone with a reason. Sarah shrugged. Maybe she's hiding from something. Or someone. Or maybe she's got a vendetta against whoever's running this place. Comforting. I aimed to please before I could respond. The door opened. The room fell silent. She walked in like she owned the building. Tailored black blazer that probably cost more than my monthly rent. White silk blouse. Heels that clicked against the linoleum floor with the precision of a metronome marking time. Dark hair pulled back in a sleek ponytail that accentuated the sharp angles of her jaw. Eyes that swept across the room with the cold calculation of someone who missed absolutely nothing. I felt the blood drain from my face. I knew that walk. I knew those eyes. I knew the slight tilt of her chin when she was assessing a situation, calculating her next move. I'd seen it 100 times on video calls. When she was dissecting a business problem or analyzing a colleague's motives. Sophia, my online girlfriend of 6 months. The woman I had dumped via text message less than 12 hours ago. She was standing at the front of the conference room, looking every inch the corporate powerhouse I had always suspected she might be. The woman who had laughed at my bad jokes and stayed on the phone with me until 3 a.m. was nowhere to be seen. In her place was a predator surveying her new territory. Good morning, everyone. Her voice was steady, professional, completely devoid of the warmth I remembered. I'm Sophia Chun. As of today, I'm your new vice president of operations. I've been with the parent company for 7 years, and I'm excited to bring my experience to this office. She paused. Her eyes found me in the back row. I felt like a deer caught in high beams. I know change can be unsettling. She continued, her gaze still locked on mine with laser focus. But I assure you, I'm here to help this team succeed. I have a personal stake in making sure this office thrives. Someone raised a hand. What's your background? Where were you before this? Chicago headquarters. I ran the Midwest operations team for 3 years. Before that, I was in strategic planning. She listed her credentials without missing a beat, but her eyes kept drifting back to me. Each time they did, I felt another layer of my composure crack like thin ice. More questions followed. Reporting structures, quarterly targets, restructuring plans. I heard none of it. My brain was stuck on a single, horrifying loop. She's here. She's my boss. I dumped her last night. She's my boss. I dumped her. She's here. The meeting dragged on for another 20 minutes. SOPs, KPIs, performance metrics. The words washed over me like static. I sat frozen in my chair, gripping the armrest so hard my knuckles turned white. When the meeting finally ended, people began filing out. I tried to blend into the crowd, to escape before she could corner me. I made it 3 steps toward the door. Jack Thompson. Her voice cut through the chatter like a blade. I froze. Slowly, reluctantly, I turned around. Sophia was standing by the conference table, her phone in her hand, her expression completely unreadable. She could have been looking at a stranger for all the emotion she showed. Could you stay for a moment? I'd like to discuss your current project load. The room emptied. The door clicked shut. We were alone. I opened my mouth to speak, but she held up a hand. Don't. She walked toward me, her heels clicking against the floor with each deliberate step. Don't apologize. Don't explain. Don't give me any of the excuses you've been rehearsing since last night. How did you know you were going to apologize? She stopped inches from me, close enough that I could smell her perfume, the same one she'd been wearing in every video call. The one I'd never told her I loved because I was too embarrassed to admit I noticed such things. Because I know you, Jack. I've spent 6 months learning every detail of your life. Your habits, your tells, the way you scratch the back of your neck when you're nervous, the way you deflect with humor when you're uncomfortable, the way you run when things get real. She held up her phone. The screen was lit up with our chat history. I could see the last message I'd sent her, highlighted in blue like an indictment. Hey, I've been thinking. This long-distance thing isn't working for me. I think we should see other people. Sorry. She read the words aloud, her voice flat, clinical. That's how you ended 6 months. A text message. At midnight. Without even a phone call. I'm sorry. I'm not done. Her eyes flashed with something dangerous. You think you can just delete me from your life with a few keystrokes? You think I'm the kind of woman who accepts a breakup text without a fight? Without even a conversation? What do you want me to say? I made a mistake. I should have called. I should have. You should have trusted me. Her voice cracked. Just slightly. before she regained control. You should have told me what you were feeling instead of assuming I wouldn't understand. You should have given me a chance to prove you wrong that I didn't think. No, you didn't. She stepped closer, invading my space, forcing me to hold my ground. So now I'm going to give you a chance to rethink your decision. Before I could process her words, she grabbed the front of my shirt, pulled me down, and kissed me. That it wasn't gentle. It wasn't tentative or questioning. It was a statement, a claim, a declaration of war wrapped in the soft pressure of her lips against mine. I stood there, frozen, my brain short-circuiting, as Sophia Chun, my ex-girlfriend, my new boss, kissed me in the middle of an empty conference room with the Manhattan skyline watching through the window. When she finally pulled back, her eyes were bright, defiant, daring me to object. There, she said, now try breaking up with me again. I stared at her, my heart pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. What the hell was that? That was me telling you that this isn't over. She smoothed her blazer, composed herself with the practiced ease of someone who'd been handling unexpected situations her entire life, and walked toward the door. We'll talk more tonight. My place. 7 o'clock. Don't be late. She paused at the door, glancing back at me over her shoulder. Oh, and Jack, welcome to your first day working for me. She left. I stood alone in the conference room, my lips still tingling from her kiss. My career and my personal life colliding in a spectacular train wreck that I had absolutely no idea how to stop. The rest of the day was a blur of survival instincts. I went through the motions of work, but my mind was elsewhere. Every time I looked up, I half expected to see Sophia standing in my doorway. Every time my phone buzzed, I jumped like a startled cat. I spilled coffee on my keyboard twice. I sent an email to the wrong client. I called Mike by the wrong name. At lunch, Mike found me hiding in the break room, staring at a sandwich I had no intention of eating. Dude, what happened in that meeting? You look like you've seen a ghost. Just processing. New boss. You know how it is. Huh? He didn't believe me for a second. Well, for what it's worth, I heard she's tough but fair. One of the senior guys from corporate said she's the real deal. Smart as hell and doesn't take crap from anyone. Great. Yeah, great. He studied me with narrowed eyes. You sure you're okay? You look pale. Like, ghost pale. Like you just found out your ex-girlfriend is your new boss. Pale. I choked on my coffee. What? That's a weirdly specific comparison. Just an observation. He shrugged. Anyway, I'm here if you need to talk. Or drink. Either one. Thanks. Mike. He clapped me on the shoulder and left me alone with my spiraling thoughts. At 5 p.m. I packed up my desk with the speed of a man fleeing a burning building. I was halfway to the elevator when my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Unknown. Don't forget. 7 p.m. 245 Park Avenue. Apt 38B. Bring an appetite and an open mind. I stared at the message. She'd already gotten my number from HR. Of course she had. She was the VP now. She had access to everything. My personnel file. My contact info. My performance reviews. My entire professional existence was now in the hands of the woman I'd dumped via text message. I typed back. How do I know this isn't a trap? Unknown. You don't. But you owe me a conversation. Be there. I sighed and pocketed my phone. She was right. I owed her that much. I arrived at her apartment building at exactly 7 p.m. It was a luxury high-rise in Midtown. The kind of building with a doorman in a uniform that cost more than my entire wardrobe. Marble lobby. Crystal chandelier. Elevators that required a key card to operate. The kind of place where the monthly maintenance fee was probably more than my annual salary. I gave my name to the concierge, who called up to confirm, then directed me to the elevators with a polite nod. The 38th floor was quiet, carpeted in plush beige that muffled my footsteps. Apartment 38B was at the end of the hall. A heavy oak door with a brass knocker shaped like a lion's head. I knocked. The door opened. Sophia was wearing a simple black dress and no shoes. Her hair was down, falling in soft waves around her shoulders. She looked different than she had at the office, softer, more human, less like a corporate predator and more like the woman I'd spent 6 months falling for. Come in. She stepped aside. The apartment was stunning. Floor-to-ceiling windows with a panoramic view of the Manhattan skyline. Modern furniture in neutral tones. Abstract art on the walls that probably cost more than my car. A kitchen that looked like it belonged in a design magazine. All marble countertops and stainless steel appliances. Nice place that it's corporate housing. They put me up here until I find something permanent. She walked to the kitchen. Wine? Sure. She poured 2 glasses and handed me one. We stood there, separated by a granite countertop. The weight of the day hanging between us like a third presence in the room. I'm sorry. I said finally. Which part? All of it. The text. The way I ended things. The way I handled everything. I set down my wine, unable to meet her eyes. You deserve better. Yes. I did. She took a sip, studying me over the rim of her glass. But I also understand why you did it. You do? I'm not an easy person to be with. Jack, my life is complicated. My family is complicated. My career demands everything I have. She set down her glass. I don't blame you for being intimidated. I wasn't intimidated. Then what were you? I hesitated. The words felt heavy in my throat. I was scared out of what? Of caring too much. Of getting in too deep. Of waking up one day and realizing I'd built my entire life around someone who was going to leave. I finally met her eyes. I've been burned before. Sophia. I didn't want to go through that again. She was quiet for a long moment, processing my words that I wasn't going to leave. Jack. Her voice was soft, stripped of the corporate armor she'd worn all day. I was actually planning to move here. To be with you. What? I requested this transfer 3 months ago. It took this long to get approved. She walked around the counter, stopping in front of me. I came here for you. My heart stopped. You're serious? I've never been more serious about anything in my life. She looked up at me, her eyes searching mine. I know we started online. I know it's unconventional. I know it doesn't fit the traditional narrative of how relationships are supposed to work. But what I felt for you was real, and I wasn't willing to let it go without a fight. Then why didn't you tell me? Because I wanted to surprise you. She smiled ruefully. I was going to show up at your apartment on Friday with dinner and a speech about how we were going to make this work. But you beat me to the punch. I'm sorry that you've said that. I mean it. I know. She reached up and touched my face, her palm warm against my cheek. I know you do. We stood there, inches apart, the air between us charged with everything unsaid. Where do we go from here? I asked forward. She smiled. Together. If you're willing. I'm willing. Good. She stepped back, the moment breaking. Because I have a plan. Of course you do. First, we eat. I made pasta. She walked toward the kitchen, glancing back at me. Then we talk about how we're going to handle this situation at work. What situation? The one where my ex-boyfriend is now my subordinate. She raised an eyebrow. It's going to be complicated. Understatement of the year. Get used to it. She handed me a plate of pasta that smelled incredible. With me. Everything is complicated. I took the plate. I'm starting to realize that we ate dinner on her balcony. The city lights spreading out below us like a map of infinite possibilities. The skyline glittered in the darkness. A constellation of windows and dreams, for the first time in months. I felt like I was exactly where I was supposed to be. The fact that my new boss was also my ex-girlfriend was a problem for future Jack. Tonight, I was just happy to be here. The pasta was incredible. The wine was smooth. The conversation was a minefield. We sat on her balcony for 2 hours, picking at the remnants of dinner, dancing around the elephant in the room. She told me about her transfer, how she'd fought with HR for 3 months to make it happen, how she'd cashed in favors from half a dozen executives, how she'd lied to her family about the reasons for the move. You told your family you were relocating for career advancement. I said that I told them I was relocating for a lot of things. She swirled her wine glass. None of them were you. Why not? Because my family doesn't know about you. She set down her glass. They don't know about any of my relationships. It's safer that way. Safer for who? For everyone involved. She stood up, walked to the railing, and looked out at the city. My family is complicated. They have expectations, standards, a certain vision for my life that doesn't include dating a project manager from a regional office. Ouch, that I'm not trying to be cruel. I'm being honest. She turned to face me. If they knew about you, they'd investigate you. They'd dig into your background, your finances, your family history. They'd find reasons to disapprove. And then they'd make both our lives miserable. So what do? We keep this quiet. At work and outside of it. She walked back to the table. No one can know we have a history. As far as the office is concerned, we met for the first time today, and the kiss, a lapse in judgment. She smiled thinly. One that won't happen again in a professional setting, right? I nodded, though something about her words stung more than I expected. Professional boundaries. Got it. Don't look so disappointed. She sat down across from me. I'm not saying we can't have a personal relationship. I'm saying we need to be smart about it. Discreet. Define discreet. Private dinners. Weekends. No public displays of affection within a 5-block radius of the office. She ticked off points on her fingers. No social media posts that could be traced back to either of us. No discussing work outside of work hours unless it's an emergency. That you've thought about this a lot, that I've had a lot of time to think. She leaned back. 3 months of transfer processing gives you plenty of opportunity to plan. And what about the breakup? The text I sent, forgotten. She waved a hand. As far as I'm concerned, it never happened. We're starting fresh. Just like that. Just like that. She held out her hand. Truce. I took her hand. Her grip was firm. Warm. Truce. The next morning, I arrived at the office with a renewed sense of purpose. Sophia and I had a plan. We'd keep our relationship private. We'd maintain professional boundaries at work. We'd figure out the rest as we went along. It was a good plan. A sensible plan. It lasted exactly 4 hours, at 1 p.m. My phone buzzed with an email notification from Sophia Chen. Subject: immediate meeting priority. Hi, my stomach tightened. I opened the email. Jack, please report to my office at 2 p.m. We need to discuss your current project portfolio and upcoming deliverables. Bring your Q3 projections. Regards, Sophia Chen, Vice President of Operations. Standard managerial stuff. Nothing to worry about. I spent the next hour gathering my documents, rehearsing my talking points, and convincing myself that this was a normal meeting between a boss and her subordinate at 2 p.m. sharp. I knocked on her door. Come in. I entered. Sophia was sitting behind her desk, laptop open, reading glasses perched on her nose. She looked up as I entered, her expression neutral. Close the door. I did. Sit. I Saturday. She studied me for a moment, then pushed a folder across the desk. I've reviewed your project portfolio. You're behind on 3 deliverables. Your Q3 projections are optimistic at best, and your resource allocation strategy is, frankly, a mess. I blinked. What? Your Jenkins project is 2 weeks overdue. Your Collins account has gone over budget by 15%, and your team utilization rate is below 60%. She recited the numbers like she was reading a grocery list. These are not acceptable metrics. I stared at her. You called me here to critique my performance? I called you here to discuss your performance. She leaned back. You're better than this. Jack, I've seen your work. You're capable of excellence. But lately, your numbers have been slipping. Lately? I've been hitting my targets consistently for the past year. Past year. Yes. Past quarter. No. She pulled up a chart on her screen and turned it toward me. Your productivity started declining approximately 6 months ago. Around the same time we started talking regularly. The implication hit me like a slap. Are you saying our relationship affected my work? I'm saying the data suggests a correlation. Her voice was calm, clinical. Late nights on the phone. Distraction during work hours. Emotional energy diverted from professional responsibilities. I can't believe you're bringing this up. I'm your boss. Jack, it's my job to bring it up. She closed the laptop. But I'm also your whatever we are. And as that person, I'm telling you that I noticed. I noticed you were struggling. I noticed you were burning out. And I didn't say anything because I didn't want to add to your stress. And now I'm saying something. She stood up and walked around the desk. Not as your boss. As the woman who cares about you. She stopped in front of me. I didn't move here to make your life harder. I moved here to be part of it. But if my presence is hurting your career, I need to know that it's not. Then prove it. She handed me a folder. Fix the Jenkins project. Get the Collins account back on track. Show everyone that you're not just the guy who got promoted because he's sleeping with the boss. I'm not sleeping with the boss. Not yet. She smiled. But the rumors will start eventually. They always do. The only way to shut them down is to be undeniable. I took the folder. You're really going to make me earn this. I'm going to make you earn everything. She walked back to her desk. That's what you deserve. Not handouts. Not shortcuts. The real thing. I stood up. Folder in hand. Anything else? Yes. She looked at me. Dinner tonight. My place. 7:30. We'll order Thai and pretend we don't have to be professional tomorrow. I thought we were being discreet. We are. She smiled. Discreet doesn't mean invisible. I left her office with the folder clutched in my hand and a confusing mix of emotions swirling in my chest. She'd just dressed me down professionally and invited me to dinner in the same breath. It was disorienting. It was infuriating. It was also, inexplicably, attractive. I spent the afternoon digging into the Jenkins project. She was right. I'd let it slip. The delays were my fault. I'd been distracted, spending too much mental energy on our late-night calls and not enough on my actual job. The realization was humbling. By 5 p.m. I had a recovery plan drafted. By 6 p.m., I'd emailed it to the team. By 7 p.m., I was standing outside Sophia's apartment building, holding a bottle of wine and trying to figure out how I'd gotten here. She opened the door in yoga pants and an oversized Columbia sweatshirt. No makeup, hair in a messy bun. She looked nothing like the corporate predator from the office and everything like the woman I'd fallen for online. You're early. I'm punctual. There's a difference. She stepped aside. Come in. Thai food should be here in 20 minutes. The apartment smelled like lemongrass and ginger. She'd set the table with actual plates and cloth napkins, a step up from the takeout containers I was used to eating from. Nice setup. I have standards. She took the wine from my hands. Also, I had a feeling you'd show up with something drinkable. Lucky guess. I pay attention. She opened the wine and poured 2 glasses. So, how was the rest of your day? Productive. I fixed the Jenkins recovery plan. Good. And I realized you were right about my numbers slipping. I know. Modest as always. I don't do modest. She handed me a glass. I do honest. There's a difference. We sat down on her couch. The city lights glowing through the windows behind us. Can I ask you something? I said, you can ask. I reserve the right not to answer. Why me? Out of everyone you could have chosen, online or offline, why did you pick me? She was quiet for a moment, swirling her wine. Because you were real. She looked at me. Every guy I've met in my world has an angle. They want my family's connections. They want my money. They want the status that comes with being associated with the Chen name. You didn't know any of that. You just like me. I did. I do. I know. She smiled. That's why I flew across the country for you. That's why I'm sitting here, in this apartment, drinking wine with a man who dumped me via text message 48 hours ago. Technically, it's been 72 hours now. Don't push it. The doorbell rang. Thai food arrived. We ate on the balcony, the city humming below us. And for a few hours, we forgot about the complications waiting for us at the office. The next morning, I walked into the office with a plan. The Jenkins project was back on track. The Collins account had a revised budget. My team utilization rate was already climbing. I'd spent 2 hours the night before, after leaving Sophia's apartment, reworking the numbers until they made sense. I was at my desk by 8 a.m. Coffee in hand, ready to prove that I wasn't just the guy who got promoted because he was sleeping with the boss. By 10 a.m. The first rumor hit. I was walking past the break room when I heard my name. I stopped, just out of sight, and listened. Heard they were together before she transferred. Like, secretly dating online or something. No way. She's a VP. He's a project manager. I'm telling you. Sarah from accounting saw them leaving the building together last night. Same direction. Same time. That doesn't mean anything. And she saw him going into her apartment building. Through the lobby. At 7 p.m., silence. Holy shit. I know. I walked away before I could hear more. My heart was pounding. The rumors had started faster than either of us had anticipated. At 11 a.m. My phone buzzed. Sophia. I heard the rumors. Me too, Sophia. Damage control. Meet me in the stairwell. 3rd floor landing. 5 minutes. I waited 5 minutes. Then made my way to the stairwell. She was already there, leaning against the railing, her phone in her hand. We have a problem. She said. I know. Sarah from accounting saw you entering my building. She's been telling people all morning. I know. By lunchtime, half the office will have heard. By end of day, it'll be everywhere. What do we do? She was quiet for a moment. Then she looked at me with an expression I couldn't quite read. We have 2 options. 1. We deny everything. We say I was interviewing you for a special project. We keep our distance for a few weeks until the rumors die down. And option 2, we lean into it. She stepped closer. We tell everyone we're in a relationship. We handle the fallout together. Your family will find out eventually. Better they hear it from me than from some corporate gossip chain. You're sure? No. She smiled. But I'm sure about you. And that's enough. I looked at her. The woman who had flown across the country for me. The woman who had kissed me in front of 20 people. The woman who was willing to risk everything for a relationship that had started with a text message and a prayer. Option 2. I said, she kissed me. Right there. In the stairwell. Where anyone could have walked in. Good. She said when she pulled back. Now let's go make some announcements. At 2 p.m. Sophia called a department-wide meeting. The conference room filled up quickly. People exchanged glances, whispered theories, tried to figure out what was happening. I stood near the back, watching. Sophia walked to the front of the room. She looked calm, composed, completely in control. That I'm sure many of you have heard rumors circulating today about my relationship with Jack Thompson. She paused, letting the words sink in. I'm here to confirm those rumors. Gasps rippled through the room. Jack and I met online 6 months ago. We've been in a relationship since then. I transferred to this office specifically to be with him. She looked at me, and for a moment, her professional mask slipped, revealing something softer underneath. I'm aware this creates complications. I'm aware there are questions about favoritism, about professionalism, about whether this is appropriate. She turned back to the room. Here's what I can promise you. Jack's performance will be evaluated on the same metrics as everyone else's. He will receive no special treatment. If anything, he will be held to a higher standard. And if anyone feels that this situation is affecting their work environment, my door is always open. She paused. Any questions? Silence. No? Good. Meeting adjourned. People filed out slowly, shooting glances at me as they passed. Some looked impressed. Some looked skeptical. A few looked outright hostile. That I didn't care. Sophia caught my eye as she walked past. She didn't smile, didn't acknowledge me in any way. But I saw it, a tiny nod. Almost imperceptible. That we were in this together. And for the first time since I'd sent that stupid text message, I felt like everything was going to be okay. The announcement changed everything. Within 24 hours, I went from being an anonymous project manager to the most talked about person in the office. People I'd never spoken to suddenly had opinions about me. The break room conversation stopped when I walked in. My emails got answered faster. My meeting requests were never declined. It was surreal. It was uncomfortable. And it was exactly what Sophia had warned me about. The spotlight is going to be intense. She'd said the night after the announcement. We were sitting on her couch. Takeout containers spread across the coffee table. The TV playing something neither of us was watching. People are going to watch everything you do. Every decision you make. Every interaction we have. I can handle it. Can you? She'd looked at me with those sharp eyes. Because handling it means never giving them ammunition. Never slipping up. Never proving them right. Proving them right about what? That you're only here because of me. She'd set down her chopsticks. That you don't deserve your position. That you're a liability instead of an asset. That's not true. I know it's not true. But perception matters more than reality in a corporate environment. She'd leaned back. So we need to be strategic. Deliberate. Every move we make needs to be calculated. You make it sound like a military operation. It is. She'd smiled. But there was no humor in it. Welcome to my world. The next morning, I arrived at the office to find a printed document on my desk. Subject: Personal Conduct Guidelines for Workplace Relationships from Sophia Chun, VP of Operations Classification. Confidential. I flipped through it. 8 pages. Single-spaced. Sections labeled Public Interactions, Professional Boundaries, Conflict of Interest Protocols, and Emergency Disclosure Procedures. That she'd written a manual. For us. I called her. Did you seriously write an 8-page guide to our relationship? 9 pages. The appendix starts on page 8. Her voice was perfectly professional. I expect you to have it memorized by end of day. You're joking. I never joke about compliance. Jack. Section 3. Subsection B. Paragraph 2 explicitly states that humor is not to be used as a deflection mechanism during work hours. I flipped to Section 3. Subsection B. Paragraph 2. Neither party shall use humor, sarcasm, or deflection to avoid addressing professional concerns during work hours. All workplace interactions must maintain a tone consistent with standard professional decorum. You actually wrote that. I wrote all of it. I could hear the smile in her voice. Consider it required reading. Quiz on Friday. She hung up. I spent the next hour reading the document. It was thorough, impressively thorough. She'd thought of everything. How we should address each other in meetings. How often we could be seen together in common areas. What to do if someone asked about our relationship directly. Section 7 was the most interesting, titled Personal Time Management. It outlined a schedule for our private interactions. Monday, dinner at residence. 7:30 p.m., 10:00 p.m. Wednesday, gym session. 6 o'clock a.m. to 7:30 a.m. Note: choose a gym at least 2 miles from the office. Friday, social outing. Location TBD. Must be at least 3 boroughs away from workplace. Weekend. Flexible. Advance notice required for any public appearances. I read it twice. Then a third time that she'd scheduled our relationship. Like it was a project. Like we were a merger that needed to be managed that I should have been offended. Instead, I was impressed. That evening, I showed up at her apartment at exactly 7:30 p.m. She opened the door in workout clothes. Sweat still drying on her forehead. "You're on time." I read the manual. Good. Then you know Section 4. Subsection A. Punctuality is a non-negotiable indicator of respect and reliability. Correct. She stepped aside. "Come in. I need to shower. Then we'll go over the week's schedule." Go over it? "You already sent me the schedule. That was the draft." She disappeared into the bedroom. The final version has revisions. I sat on her couch and waited. 10 minutes later, she emerged in jeans and a cashmere sweater. Her hair still damp. Revised schedule. She handed me a printed page. I moved our gym sessions to 5:30 a.m. Less chance of running into anyone we know. 5:30 a.m. Early bird gets the worm. Jack. She sat down across from me. Also, I added a Sunday brunch requirement. We need to be seen in public together at least once a week. Normalizes the relationship. Normalizes it. Makes it seem ordinary. Boring. Even. The more mundane we appear, the less interesting we become to gossip. She pulled out her phone. "I've identified 3 brunch locations that meet our criteria. Reasonable distance from the office. Low probability of encountering colleagues. Good food. You researched brunch spots." I researched everything. She looked up at me. "That's what I do. I anticipate problems before they arise." "What problems are you anticipating?" "Several." She set down her phone. "My family. For one, they're going to find out about us eventually. When they do, they'll investigate you. They'll dig into your background, your finances, your personal history. They'll look for reasons to disapprove. Let them look. They will find things." "Jack, everyone has things." Her voice softened. "I need to know what they're going to find before they find it." I understood. She was asking for my skeletons. Why mother had cancer when I was in college. I said, "I took out loans to pay for her treatment. She died anyway. I'm still paying off the debt." "How much?" $47,000. She nodded slowly. "Anything else?" "A DUI from 5 years ago. Reduced to reckless driving. I was 23 and stupid." "Anything else?" "No. That's it." She studied me for a long moment. Then she nodded. "Good. I can work with that." "Work with it. I can spin it." Tragic backstory. Responsible son. A single mistake in youth that you've since overcome. She typed something into her phone. "It's humanizing. Makes you sympathetic that you're already planning how to sell me to your family. I'm already planning how to protect you from my family." She set down her phone. "There's a difference." The next few days fell into a rhythm. 5:30 a.m. gym sessions where we barely spoke. Focused on our workouts. Stealing glances when we thought the other wasn't looking. Work days where we interacted with professional courtesy. Never lingering too long in each other's presence. Evening dinners where we decompressed. Talked about our days. Slowly rebuilt the intimacy that my stupid text message had shattered. By Friday, I'd memorized the manual. By Saturday, I'd started noticing the gaps in it. "What about weekends?" I asked as we walked through Central Park. It was our first public outing since the announcement, and I was hyper-aware of every person who passed us. "What about them?" "The manual says flexible, but it doesn't specify what flexible means." She considered this. "Flexible means we adapt to circumstances. If something comes up, a work emergency, a family obligation, a social event, we adjust accordingly. That's vague. That's intentional." She stopped walking and turned to face me. "I've spent my entire life living by schedules and protocols. I don't want that for us." "Then why did you write the manual?" "Because I needed to feel in control." She looked away. "My life has been chaotic lately. Moving here, starting this job, trying to make us work. The manual was my way of imposing order on chaos. And now I'm realizing that order isn't always possible." She met my eyes. "Sometimes you have to embrace the chaos." I stepped closer. "Is that a metaphor?" "It's an invitation." She smiled. "To stop following the manual and start figuring this out as we go." I kissed her. Right there, in the middle of Central Park, with dozens of strangers walking past. When I pulled back, she was laughing. "What? You just violated Section 2. Subsection C." She was grinning. "Public displays of affection must be limited to brief, non-intimate contact." "I guess I'm a rebel." "I guess you are." She took my hand. "Come on, rebel. Let's go find some brunch." The brunch spot she'd chosen was a small cafe in the West Village, tucked away on a side street that saw minimal foot traffic. We ordered coffee and avocado toast and talked about nothing important. Halfway through the meal, her phone buzzed. She glanced at it, and her expression changed. What? My brother. She set down her phone. He's in New York? Your brother? I thought you said your family was on the West Coast. They are. Usually. She picked up her phone again, reading the message. He's here for a business meeting. Wants to have dinner tonight. Is that a problem? It could be. She looked at me. He's going to want to meet you. Then let him meet me, Jack. My brother is not like me. He's traditional, protective, suspicious of anyone he perceives as a threat to the family. That I'm a threat to his vision of how my life should go? Yes. She set down her phone. He's been pushing me toward Daniel Cross for years. The fact that I'm with you instead will not make him happy. Then we prove him wrong. How? By being undeniable. I reached across the table and took her hand. Like you said, we show him that this is real. She looked at me for a long moment. Then she nodded. Okay. Dinner tonight. 7 o'clock. At the Mandarin Oriental. I'll be there. I spent the afternoon preparing. I put on my best suit, the one I'd bought for my mother's funeral and hadn't worn since. I rehearsed conversation topics. I read up on Sophia's family history, her brother's business interests, the current state of the Chun family empire. By 6:45 p.m. I was standing in the lobby of the Mandarin Oriental, trying not to sweat through my jacket. Sophia arrived at 6:50. She was wearing a black dress and heels, her hair styled in elegant waves. She looked like she belonged in this hotel. I looked like I was crashing a party I hadn't been invited to. Relax, she said, reading my expression. You look fine. I look like a guy who's about to meet his girlfriend's rich brother for the first time. That's exactly what you are. She took my arm. On it. We walked to the restaurant. Her brother was already there, seated at a table by the window, a glass of scotch in his hand. He stood as we approached. He was taller than me, broader in the shoulders, with the kind of polished handsomeness that came from good genes and expensive grooming. His suit was custom. His watch was a Patek Philippe. His smile was professional and cold. Sophia. He kissed her cheek. You look well, Michael. She returned the kiss. This is Jack. He turned to me. His eyes traveled over me with the casual dismissiveness of someone who'd spent his entire life being the richest person in every room. Jack. I've heard a lot about you. All good. I hope mixed. Actually. He smiled. But I'm willing to keep an open mind. We sat down. A waiter appeared, took our drink orders, disappeared. Sophia tells me you're a project manager. Michael said. I am. And before that, I was in operations. Before that, I was in customer support, climbing the ladder, slowly. But yes. He nodded, processing this information. And how did you meet my sister? Online. Online. He repeated the word like it was a disease. Tinder? Bumble? One of those apps? Actually, we met on a professional networking site. She commented on a post I'd written about project management methodologies. Michael's eyebrows rose. You write about project management methodologies? I have a blog. Small audience. Mostly industry professionals. Huh. He leaned back, reassessing. I didn't expect that. Most people don't. The waiter returned with our drinks. Michael raised his glass. To unexpected surprises. We clinked glasses. I took a sip. The scotch burned going down. Sophia tells me you're the one who pushed her to transfer here. Michael said I wouldn't say pushed. Encouraged a VP to relocate across the country for a relationship that had, at that point, existed entirely online. He set down his glass. That's either very romantic or very reckless. Can it be both? He laughed. It was a genuine laugh, surprising us both. I like you. Jack, you've got guts. He leaned forward. But I need to know something. And I need you to be honest with me. Okay. What are your intentions with my sister? The question hung in the air. I looked at Sophia. She was watching me, her expression unreadable. I intend to be worthy of her. I said, I intend to build something real with her. I intend to spend the rest of my life trying to make her happy. Michael studied me for a long moment. Then he nodded. Good answer. He raised his glass again. Welcome to the family. Jack. The dinner lasted another 2 hours. Michael asked about my background, my career goals, my thoughts on the current state of the tech industry. I answered honestly, without embellishment. By the end of the meal, I'd earned something I hadn't expected. His respect. As we left the restaurant, Sophia slipped her hand into mine. You did well. She said. I was terrified. I know. She squeezed my hand. That's what made it impressive. We walked through the hotel lobby, past the marble columns and crystal chandeliers. out into the cool night air. Your brother is intense, that he's protective. There's a difference. With Michael? Not really. She stopped walking and turned to face me. But he liked you. I could tell. Because he didn't have me killed? Because he offered you a drink instead of a threat. She smiled. That's high praise from him. I pulled her close. So I passed the test. You passed the first test. She kissed me. There will be more. Bring them on. We walked home together. The city lights guiding our way. For the first time since this whole thing started, I felt like I belonged in her world. The dinner with Michael was a victory. I knew that. Sophia told me it was a victory. Her brother had shaken my hand at the end of the night, given me his card, and said, if you ever need anything, call me. But victories in the Chun family came with a price tag I didn't yet understand. 3 days after the dinner, I found out what that price was. It was a Thursday afternoon. I was in my cubicle, reviewing the Collins account projections, when my phone buzzed with an email notification from Chun family office. Subject: verification request priority. Urgent. I opened it. Dear Mr. Thompson, this is to inform you that a standard background verification has been initiated on your behalf. As per Chun family protocol for individuals entering into serious relationships with family members, please expect a representative to contact you within 48 hours to schedule an interview. Regards, Eleanor Vance, Director of Family Affairs, Chun Family Office. I stared at the screen. A background check. They were running a background check on me. I forwarded the email to Sophia with a one-word message. Explain. Her response came 5 minutes later. Sophia, I was going to warn you. They moved faster than I expected. Me. They're investigating me like I'm applying for a security clearance. Sophia, because you are. Welcome to the Chun family. We don't do casual. Me. What does this mean, Sophia? It means they're going to dig into every aspect of your life. Finances, employment history, criminal record, social media, personal relationships, everything. Me. And if they find something they don't like, Sophia, then we deal with it together. The interview was scheduled for the following Tuesday. I spent the weekend in a state of controlled panic. I scrubbed my social media accounts. I called my old bosses to warn them they might receive inquiries. I even dug out my college transcripts. Just in case. Sophia came over on Saturday night with Thai food and a bottle of wine. You need to relax. She said. I need to prepare. For what? You don't even know what they're going to ask. I know they're going to ask about my finances, my debt, my mother's medical bills. I paced her living room. I know they're going to ask about the DUI. The DUI that was reduced to reckless driving? The one from 5 years ago. Yes, that one. Jack. She set down her wine and walked over to me. Everyone has a past. Everyone has made mistakes. What matters is what you've done since then. I've been paying off my mother's medical debt for 7 years. I've been working the same job, showing up every day, trying to build something stable. I stopped pacing. That doesn't sound impressive when you say it out loud. It sounds responsible. It sounds honorable. She took my hands. It sounds like exactly the kind of person I want to be with. You're biased. Of course I'm biased. I'm in love with you. She said it casually, like it was the most obvious thing in the world. But I'm also objective enough to know that you're a good man, Jack Thompson. And no background check is going to change that. I looked at her. You love me? I thought that was obvious. She smiled. I flew across the country for you. I risked my career for you. I introduced you to my brother. She paused. Yes, Jack. I love you. I kissed her. Right there, in the middle of her living room, with Thai food growing cold on the coffee table. I love you too. I said when I finally pulled back. I know. She grinned. Now eat your pad thai before it gets cold. Tuesday arrived with the inevitability of a tax audit. I took the afternoon off work, citing a doctor's appointment. The real appointment was at the Chun family office's New York branch, a discreet suite of offices on the 45th floor of a midtown skyscraper. The receptionist was polite, professional, and completely unreadable. She offered me coffee, which I declined because my hands were already shaking enough. She directed me to a conference room with a view of the Hudson River and told me Ms. Vance would be with me shortly. Ms. Vance arrived exactly 3 minutes later. She was in her 50s, with silver-streaked hair pulled back in a severe bun and reading glasses that hung from a chain around her neck. She wore a charcoal gray suit that cost more than my monthly rent and an expression that suggested she'd seen everything and was impressed by none of it. Mr. Thompson. She extended her hand. I'm Eleanor Vance. Thank you for coming. Thank you for having me. She smiled. But it didn't reach her eyes. Please. Sit. I sat. She sat across from me. A folder already open on the table. I'll be straightforward with you. Mr. Thompson, the Chun family takes relationships seriously. When a family member enters into a significant partnership, we conduct a thorough review to ensure that the individual in question is who they claim to be. I understand. DOU? She looked at me over her reading glasses. This isn't a simple background check. We will examine your financial records, your employment history, your educational background, your criminal record, your social media presence, and your personal references. We will interview your former supervisors, your college professors, and your neighbors. That's extensive. It's necessary. She turned a page in her folder. The Chin family has been burned before by people who pretended to care about a family member when they were really after the family's money and connections. I'm not one of those people. That's what they all say. She smiled again, thinner this time. But I'm willing to give you the benefit of the doubt. For now, she spent the next hour asking me questions. Detailed questions. About my childhood, my education, my career choices. About my mother's illness, her death, the debt I'd accumulated. About every relationship I'd ever had. Every job I'd ever held. Every significant decision I'd ever made. I answered them all honestly. There was no point in lying. She would find the truth anyway. At the end of the hour, she closed her folder and stood. Thank you for your cooperation. Mr. Thompson, we'll be in touch within 2 weeks with our findings. That's it. That's it for now. She extended her hand. I hope, for your sake, that everything checks out. I shook her hand. So do I. The 2 weeks that followed were the longest of my life. I went to work. I did my job. I had dinner with Sophia. I pretended everything was normal, but underneath the surface, I was waiting for the other shoe to drop. It dropped on day 12. I was in a meeting when my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Unknown. We need to talk. Meet me at the Blue Note. 8 p.m. Come alone. I stared at the message. No signature. No context. But I knew who it was. Eleanor Vance. I arrived at the Blue Note at exactly 8 p.m. The jazz club was dimly lit, filled with the sounds of saxophones and murmured conversations. Eleanor was seated at a table in the corner, a glass of red wine in front of her. She looked up as I approached. Mr. Thompson, thank you for coming. Your text was cryptic. I intended it to be. She gestured to the seat across from her. Please, sit. I sat. A waiter appeared. I ordered a whiskey. I've completed my investigation. Eleanor said, I have some findings to share with you. My heart pounded. Okay, your background check revealed several items of note. She pulled a folder from her bag. Your mother's medical debt. Your DUI from 5 years ago. A period of unemployment following your mother's death. I told you about all of those. You did. She nodded. That's points in your favor. You were honest about your shortcomings. But there's something else. She opened the folder and slid a document across the table. A deposit of $50,000 into your bank account, dated approximately 6 months ago. Can you explain that? I looked at the document. It was a bank statement. My bank statement. And there it was, a deposit of $50,000, dated the month before I met Sophia. I don't know what that is. I looked up at her. I've never seen that before. Are you claiming someone deposited money into your account without your knowledge? I'm claiming I don't remember receiving $50,000. I stared at the statement. That's not something you forget. Yet the record shows it was deposited and withdrawn within the same week. Withdrawn? By who? By you. According to the bank's records. She watched me carefully. Do you have any explanation for this? Mr. Thompson? I racked my brain. $50,000. Deposited and withdrawn. I had no memory of it. Wait. A memory surfaced. My mother's insurance. There was a settlement. For her medical bills. It was supposed to be paid directly to the hospital. The hospital has no record of receiving such a payment. Then where did it go? That's what I'm asking you. I sat back. My mind reeling. I don't know. I swear. I don't know. Eleanor studied me for a long moment. Then she closed the folder. I believe you. You do? I do. She took a sip of her wine. Because I've already investigated this discrepancy. The deposit was made from an account linked to Daniel Cross. My blood ran cold. Daniel Cross? Sophia's former suitor. The one your relationship displaced. She set down her glass. It appears Mr. Cross was attempting to manufacture evidence of financial impropriety on your part. He deposited the money, then withdrew it, creating a trail that would suggest you had received and concealed a significant sum. Why would he do that? To discredit you. To make it appear that you were financially motivated in your relationship with Sophia. She leaned forward. He's been watching you. Mr. Thompson, waiting for an opportunity to strike. Does Sophia know? Not yet. I wanted to speak with you first. She paused. I also wanted to apologize for the intrusion, for the suspicion. She looked almost uncomfortable. In my line of work, I've learned to expect the worst from people. It's rare that I'm proven wrong. You were wrong about me? It appears so. She extended her hand. I'll be recommending to the family that your background check be cleared, and I'll be informing them of Mr. Cross's interference. That I shook her hand. Thank you, that don't thank me yet. She stood. Daniel Cross is not a man who takes rejection lightly. He will try again. And next time, he may not fail. She walked out of the jazz club, leaving me alone with my whiskey and my thoughts. That I called Sophia as soon as I left the Blue Note. Something happened. Tell me. I explained everything. The background check. The $50,000. Daniel Cross's interference. Eleanor's apology. She was silent for a long moment after I finished. Sophia, I'm going to kill him. Which one? Daniel. My brother. Anyone who had a hand in this. Her voice was cold. They tried to set you up. They tried to ruin you. They failed. This time. She paused. Jack, I need to tell you something. Something I should have told you before. What? Daniel Cross isn't just a rejected suitor. He's a threat. He's been trying to merge his family's business with mine for years. Our relationship, yours and mine, is the only thing standing in his way. Standing in his way of what? Of controlling my family's company. Her voice was heavy. If he can discredit you, if he can prove that I chose unwisely, he can use that to challenge my position in the family, to argue that I'm not fit to lead. Lead what? The Chun family empire. She paused. Jack, I'm not just a VP. I'm the heir apparent to the entire Chun group. And Daniel Cross will do anything to stop me from taking that position. I sat down heavily on a bench outside the jazz club. That you're telling me that I'm not just dating my boss. I'm dating the future CEO of a multi-billion-dollar corporation, essentially. Yes. And your family's rival is trying to destroy me to get to you. That's a simplified version. But accurate. That I let out a breath I didn't realize I'd been holding. Sophia? Yes, I love you. But your life is insane. I know. She almost laughed. Are you in or out? I thought about it. About the background checks and the family feuds and the corporate intrigue. About Daniel Cross and his schemes. About the $50,000 that could have destroyed me. Then I thought about Sophia. About the way she looked at me. About the way she'd flown across the country for me. About the way she'd kissed me in front of 20 people and dared the world to judge us. That I'm in. I said good. I could hear the smile in her voice. Because it's about to get a lot more interesting. The next morning, I arrived at work to find a package on my desk. The IT was a small box, wrapped in brown paper, with my name written on it in elegant cursive. I opened it carefully. Inside was a vintage fountain pen, black resin with gold accents. A note was tucked beneath it.Mr. Thompson. A token of apology for the intrusion. May this instrument serve you better than my suspicions served me. Best regards, Eleanor Vance. I picked up the pen. It was heavy, solid, real. I didn't know what the future held. I didn't know if Daniel Cross would try again. I didn't know if I was ready for the world I was about to enter. But holding that pen, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. I was in, and I wasn't going down without a fight. That evening, Sophia came over to my apartment. She walked in without knocking, which was new. She looked around my small studio, the mismatched furniture, the stack of books by the bed, the single plant I was desperately trying to keep alive. This is where you live? This is where I live. She walked to the window and looked out at the fire escape. It's cozy. It's cheap. That too. She turned to face me. I talked to Eleanor, and she confirmed everything you told me. Daniel Cross is behind the deposit. She's already started proceedings to have him investigated for attempted fraud. Will that stick? Probably not. He's too careful, but it's enough to warn him off for now. She walked over to me. I also talked to my grandfather. About us. About everything. The background check. Daniel's interference. My intention to continue this relationship regardless of what anyone thinks. What did he say? She was quiet for a moment. He said he wants to meet you. My heart stopped. Your grandfather wants to meet me? Not just my grandfather. My grandmother. My aunt. My uncle. The entire senior leadership of the Chin family. She paused. They're holding a family dinner this weekend. At the estate in Connecticut. And they've invited you. This weekend? As in 3 days from now? Yes, Sophia. I'm not ready to meet your entire family, neither am I. She took my hands. But if we're going to do this, if we're really going to be together, we need to face them. Together. I looked at her. The woman who had turned my life upside down. The woman who had flown across the country for me. The woman who was asking me to walk into the lion's den with her. What do I need to wear? She smiled. Something expensive. I'll take you shopping tomorrow. The next day, Sophia took me to a boutique in Soho that didn't have a visible price tag on anything. The sales associate, a tall man with a French accent and an impeccable suit, measured me with the precision of a tailor preparing a soldier for battle. He selected a charcoal gray suit, a white dress shirt, and a silk tie the color of deep burgundy. Try these. Sophia said. I tried them on. The fit was perfect. The fabric was soft. I looked in the mirror and barely recognized myself. You clean up well. Sophia said from behind me. I look like I'm going to a funeral. You look like you belong. She walked up beside me. That's the point. I turned to her. What if they don't like me? Then they don't like you. She met my eyes in the mirror. But I do. And that's what matters. I bought the suit. Saturday arrived faster than I wanted. We drove to Connecticut in Sophia's car, a black Mercedes sedan that hummed along the highway like a predatory cat. The landscape shifted from urban sprawl to rolling hills to manicured estates. The Chun family compound was hidden behind iron gates and a long driveway lined with oak trees. The main house was a Georgian mansion that looked like it belonged on the cover of Architectural Digest. Ready? Sophia asked as we parked. No good. Neither am I. She squeezed my hand. Let's go. We walked to the front door. It opened before we could knock. Standing in the doorway was an elderly woman in a silk cheongsam, her white hair pinned up with jade ornaments. Her eyes were sharp, assessing, and utterly unimpressed. So, she said, looking me up and down. You're the one who stole my granddaughter. I swallowed. Yes, ma'am. I'm Jack Thompson. She studied me for a long moment. Then she smiled. Good. She needs someone who can keep up with her. She stepped aside. The Chun family estate in Connecticut was everything I expected and nothing I was prepared for. 30 rooms. A staff of 12. A dining table that could seat 24. Paintings on the walls that belonged in museums. A wine cellar that contained bottles older than my grandparents. And at the head of it all sat Patricia Chun, the matriarch of the family. A woman who had built an empire from nothing and now ruled it with iron grace. She was smaller than I expected, frail-looking, with paper-thin skin and hands that trembled slightly as she lifted her teacup. But her eyes, those eyes missed nothing. So, Jack Thompson. She set down her cup. Tell me about yourself. I told her. The truth. My upbringing in a middle-class neighborhood in Queens. My mother's illness. My father's abandonment. The student loans. The job at the tech company. The blog about project management that had somehow caught her granddaughter's attention. She listened without interrupting. When I finished, she nodded slowly. You've had a difficult life. I've had a life. Some parts difficult, some parts not. And what do you want from my granddaughter? Nothing she doesn't want to give. Meaning? Meaning I'm not here for her money or her connections or her family name. I met her eyes. I'm here because I love her. That's it. Patricia Chun studied me for a long moment. Then she smiled, a thin, knowing smile. You're either very honest or very good at lying. I've been told I'm a terrible liar. We'll see. She stood. Dinner is in 2 hours. Sophia will show you to your room. We'll continue this conversation then. The dinner was a formal affair. 8 courses. Wine pairings with each course. Conversation that ranged from business to politics to art to literature. I held my own. Thanks to months of late-night conversations with Sophia about topics I'd never bothered to learn about before. Her grandfather, William Chun, sat at the opposite end of the table. He spoke little, but when he did, everyone listened. Near the end of the meal, he cleared his throat. Jack, sir, I've reviewed the background check conducted by Eleanor Vance. He set down his fork. You have nothing to hide, Sir, your mother's medical debt is substantial. Yes. Sir, and yet you've never asked Sophia for money. Sir, why not? Because that's not what our relationship is based on. I met his eyes. I'm paying off my own debts. It's taking time, but I'll get there. William Chun nodded slowly. Admirable. That was the only word he said to me for the rest of the night. But it was enough. The weekend passed in a blur of formal dinners, garden walks, and strained conversations with various Chun family members. By Sunday evening, I was exhausted. On the drive back to New York, Sophia reached over and took my hand. You survived. Barely. You did more than survive. You impressed them. She glanced at me. My grandmother likes you. She has a funny way of showing it that she's Chinese. Showing affection directly is considered weak. She smiled. But I know her. She likes you. And your grandfather? He respects you. Which is more than he does for most people. I leaned back in my seat. So I passed the family test. You passed the first family test. She squeezed my hand. There will be more. Bring them on. We arrived back in the city late Sunday night. Monday morning came too fast. I was at my desk by 8 a.m. Coffee in hand. Ready to tackle the week. At 10 a.m. My phone buzzed. Unknown. Hello, Jack. We need to talk. I stared at the message. Another unknown number. Another cryptic invitation. Me. Who is this? Unknown. Daniel Cross. I'm sure you've heard of me. My blood ran cold with me. What do you want? Daniel Cross. To talk. Coffee. Tomorrow morning. 8 a.m. Blue Bottle Coffee on Broadway. Come alone. Me. Why would I meet you? Daniel Cross. Because I have information about Sophia that you need to know. Information she hasn't told you. I stared at the screen. My thumb hovered over the block button, but I didn't press it. Me. Fine. Tomorrow. 8 a.m. I didn't tell Sophia about the meeting. I told myself it was because I didn't want to worry her. I told myself it was because I needed to handle this on my own. I told myself a lot of things. The truth was simpler. I needed to know what Daniel Cross had to say. Blue Bottle Coffee was crowded when I arrived at 7:55 a.m. I spotted him immediately. He was sitting at a table by the window, dressed in a tailored suit, sipping an espresso. He looked like he'd stepped out of a GQ photo shoot. He stood as I approached. Jack, thanks for coming. I'm not here to be friendly. What do you want? Straight to the point. I appreciate that. He gestured to the seat across from him. Sit. Please. Saturday, I'll be honest with you. Jack, I don't like you. He set down his espresso. You've taken something that should have been mine. Sophia isn't a possession. You're right. She's not. He leaned forward. But the position she's going to inherit, that's another matter. And you're standing in the way of that. I'm not standing in the way of anything. You are. He pulled out his phone. Let me show you something. He turned the screen toward me. It was a photo of Sophia, taken recently. She was at a restaurant, laughing at something off camera. Across from her sat a man I didn't recognize. This was taken 3 weeks ago. Daniel said, while you were at work. So? She's allowed to have dinner with people. Look closer. I looked. The man across from her was handsome, well-dressed, clearly wealthy. His name is Marcus Wei. Daniel said, he's the son of a Hong Kong billionaire. And he's been courting Sophia for the past month. You're lying. I'm not. He swiped to another photo. This one showed Sophia and Marcus walking out of the restaurant together. She's been meeting him regularly. Dinners, drinks, late-night conversations. I felt my stomach drop. Why would she do that? Because her family is pressuring her to reconsider her options. Daniel put away his phone. They like you, Jack, but they don't love you. And they're not sure you're the right match for the future of the Qin Empire. Sophia wouldn't. Wouldn't what? Keep secrets from you? He smiled. She's already done that. She didn't tell you about her family's wealth. She didn't tell you about her position as heir. She didn't tell you about Marcus. I had no response. I'm not telling you this to hurt you. Daniel said, I'm telling you this because you deserve to know the truth. Sophia is playing both sides. And when she has to choose between you and her family's empire, I think we both know which one she'll pick. He stood, dropping a $20 bill on the table. Think about it, Jack. And when you're ready to talk, you have my number. He walked out, leaving me alone with my coffee and my doubts that I didn't go to work that day. I walked the streets of Manhattan for hours, replaying Daniel's words in my head. The photos, the accusations, the implication that Sophia was keeping secrets. I wanted to believe he was lying. I wanted to believe it was a manipulation, but the photos were real. And the doubt had been planted. 8:06 p.m. I showed up at Sophia's apartment. She opened the door, surprised to see me. Jack, I thought you were working late. We need to talk. She studied my face. What's wrong? Who's Marcus Wei? The color drained from her face. Where did you hear that name? Daniel Cross showed me photos of you and Marcus having dinner. Multiple dinners. I stepped into her apartment. Tell me it's not true. She was silent for a long moment. But it's true. She said finally. The words hit me like a physical blow. I've been meeting with Marcus. She continued. But it's not what you think. Then what is it? Marcus is a business associate. His family is considering a partnership with Qin Group. My grandfather asked me to court the relationship. Court the relationship? You mean date him? I mean entertain the possibility. She looked at me. I didn't tell you because I knew how it would look. And because I was trying to handle it on my own. Handle it how? By turning him down gently. By finding a way to satisfy my family's business interests without compromising our relationship. She stepped closer. Jack, I love you. Marcus means nothing to me. Then why didn't you tell me? Because I was afraid. Her voice cracked. Afraid that you wouldn't understand. Afraid that you'd react exactly like this. Like what? Like you don't trust me. The accusation stung because it was true that I don't know what to believe anymore. I said, then believe this. She took my hands. I chose you. I flew across the country for you. I introduced you to my family. I risked everything for you. Does that sound like someone who's playing both sides? I looked at her. The woman who had kissed me in front of 20 people. The woman who had defended me to her family. The woman who had said she loved me doesn't know. I admitted. It doesn't. Then trust me. She squeezed my hands. Give me time to handle Marcus. Give me time to prove that you're the only one I want, and I wanted to say yes. I wanted to believe her, but the doubt was still there. Festering. I need some time. I said. How much time? I don't know. I pulled my hands away. I'll call you tomorrow. I walked out of her apartment, leaving her standing in the doorway. I didn't call her the next day. Or the day after that. I buried myself in work, trying to distract myself from the chaos in my personal life. It worked. Sort of. The Jenkins project got back on track. The Collins account stabilized. My numbers improved. But at night, alone in my apartment, the doubts crept back. On the third day, my phone buzzed. Sophia. I miss you. I stared at the message for a long time. Me. I miss you too, Sophia. Can we talk? Me. I'm not ready yet. Sophia. When will you be ready? I didn't have an answer. The next week. Daniel Cross called. I told you. He said. She's playing both sides. I don't believe you. Then check her calendar. She has dinner with Marcus again tonight. Same restaurant. 8 p.m. I hung up. I spent the rest of the day trying to focus on work. I failed. At 7:45 p.m. I found myself standing outside the restaurant Daniel had mentioned. At 8 p.m. Sophia walked in. 5 minutes later, Marcus Way joined her. I watched through the window as they laughed together, talked together, shared a bottle of wine together. It looked intimate. It looked romantic. It looked exactly like what Daniel had described. I turned and walked away. The next morning, I sent Sophia a text. Me. I saw you last night. With Marcus, her response came immediately. Sophia. Jack. It's not what you think. I was telling him I couldn't see him anymore. Me. It looked like more than that. Sophia. Because I was letting him down gently. I didn't want to create bad blood between our families. Me. You should have told me, Sophia. I tried. You wouldn't answer my calls. She was right. I hadn't. Me. I need space, Sophia. How much space? Me. I don't know. I put down my phone and stared at the ceiling. I loved her. I knew I loved her, but trust was fragile. And once broken, it was hard to repair. A week passed. Then 2. Sophia called. I didn't answer. She texted. I responded with one-word replies that I was punishing her. I knew I was. But I couldn't stop. Then one night, there was a knock on my door. I opened it. Sophia stood in the hallway. Her eyes red. Her face streaked with tears. I ended it. She said, with Marcus. With my family's expectations. With everything that came between us. Sophia, I love you. Jack, I've loved you since the first night we talked until 4 a.m. I've loved you through every obstacle, every complication, every doubt. Her voice broke. And I will keep loving you until you believe me. She stepped forward and kissed me. I stood there, frozen, my heart pounding. Then I kissed her back. I'm sorry. I said when we finally pulled apart. I should have trusted you. You should have. She wiped her eyes. But I understand why you didn't. Can we start over? We don't need to start over. She took my hand. We just need to move forward. Together. I pulled her into my arms. Together. I said, and for the first time in weeks. I believed it. That night, we sat on her couch. The city lights glowing through the windows. Tell me about Marcus. I said, the whole truth. She took a deep breath. Marcus Way is the son of Charles Way, chairman of Way International. Their family controls shipping routes across Southeast Asia. My grandfather sees a merger between Chun Group and Way International as the next logical step in expanding our empire, and he wants you to marry Marcus to seal the deal. He wants me to consider it. She looked at me. He's old school. Jack. He believes in alliances forged through marriage. It's how he built the company in the first place. But you told him no. I told him I needed time. She paused. I've been using those dinners with Marcus to buy myself time. To figure out a way to satisfy my family's business interests without sacrificing our relationship. Is there a way? I think so. She sat up straighter. Marcus doesn't want to marry me any more than I want to marry him. He has his own life, his own ambitions. The pressure is coming from our families, not from us. Oh, what's the solution? We present a united front. You and me. She took my hands. We show my family that our relationship is strong enough to withstand their pressure. We show Marcus that I'm committed to you. And we find a business arrangement that satisfies everyone without requiring a marriage. That's a lot of moving parts. I know. She smiled. But I've handled worse. I believed her. The next day, Sophia arranged a meeting with Marcus. It was held at a neutral location, a private dining room at a hotel in Midtown. Marcus arrived alone, dressed casually, looking more relaxed than I'd expected. Jack. He extended his hand. I've heard a lot about you. Same. He smiled. I'm guessing none of it was good. Some of it was interesting. He laughed. Fair enough. We sat down. Sophia poured tea for all three of us. Let's cut to the chase. Marcus said, I don't want to marry Sophia. She doesn't want to marry me. But our families are obsessed with the idea. Oh, what do we do? I asked. We give them what they want without giving them what they want. He leaned forward. A business partnership, joint ventures, shared resources, everything a marriage would accomplish. Without the actual marriage, will your family accept that? They will if we present it as a done deal. He looked at Sophia. Your grandfather respects results. If we show him a profitable partnership, he'll forget about the marriage. And your father? My father wants access to Chun Group's distribution network. If I can deliver that, he'll leave me alone. Sophia nodded slowly. It could work. It will work. Marcus stood. I'll have my team draft a proposal. We'll present it jointly to both families. He extended his hand to me. Good luck. Jack, you're going to need it. I shook his hand. Thanks. I think that he walked out, leaving Sophia and me alone. That went better than expected. I said don't celebrate yet. She looked at me. The hard part is still ahead. The hard part came 3 weeks later. The joint proposal was complete. Marcus and Sophia had worked tirelessly to craft a partnership agreement that would benefit both families without requiring a marriage. The numbers were solid. The projections were promising. The logic was undeniable. But logic didn't always win in the Chun family. The presentation was held at the Chun family estate in Connecticut. Both families were present, the Chuns and the Weiss. The room was packed with lawyers, advisors, and family elders. Sophia presented first. She walked through the proposal with the precision of a surgeon, addressing every concern, answering every question. Marcus followed, reinforcing her points with data and analysis. When they finished, the room was silent. Patricia Chun was the first to speak. This is impressive work, she said. Thorough, well-researched, thank you, grandmother, but it doesn't address the core issue. Patricia set down her glasses. A business partnership can be dissolved. A marriage cannot. The alliance we seek requires permanence. Sophia's face fell. Grandmother, I'm not finished. Patricia held up a hand. I understand your objections. I understand that you love this young man. She glanced at me. And I understand that times have changed. But our family's traditions exist for a reason. She paused. However, she looked at Marcus. I also understand that forcing a marriage between two unwilling parties is a recipe for disaster. I've seen it happen. It never ends well. Marcus nodded. So what do you suggest? I suggest a compromise. Patricia turned to Sophia. You will continue to pursue this business partnership with Marcus. If it proves successful after 2 years, the marriage requirement will be dropped permanently. 2 years. 2 years. During which time, you will remain unmarried to anyone else. She looked at me, including Mr. Thompson. The room erupted in murmurs. Sophia's face went pale. That's not fair. It's not fair to Jack. Patricia's voice was firm. But it's the only way I can justify this to the rest of the family. 2 years. Prove the partnership works. Then you can marry whomever you choose. Sophia looked at me. Her eyes were pleading. I took a deep breath. 2 years. I said. Sophia stared at me. Jack, I can wait 2 years. I met Patricia's eyes. If that's what it takes to prove that our relationship is real, I'll wait. Patricia studied me for a long moment. Then she nodded. Very well. The terms are set. She stood. 2 years. Prove the partnership. Then you have my blessing. She walked out of the room, followed by the rest of the family. Sophia turned to me, tears streaming down her face. I can't ask you to wait 2 years. You didn't ask. I offered, but no buts. I pulled her into my arms. I love you, Sophia. 2 years is nothing compared to a lifetime. She buried her face in my chest that I love you too. She whispered that we stood there, holding each other. As the weight of the agreement settled around us, 2 years that it felt like forever, but for her, I would wait as long as it took. The agreement hung over us like a storm cloud. 2 years, 24 months, 730 days of waiting, watching, proving ourselves to a family that still wasn't sure I was good enough for their precious heir, that I told myself I could handle it. I told Sophia I could handle it. I told everyone who asked that the wait was nothing compared to what we had together. But the truth was more complicated. The first month was the hardest. Sophia threw herself into the partnership with Marcus Way. Late nights at the office, weekend conference calls with Hong Kong, trips to meet with Way International's leadership team. Our time together shrank from daily dinners to hurried coffee breaks to stolen moments between meetings that I understood. I told myself I understood. This was the price of admission to the Chin family. Prove the partnership, earn their respect, win the prize. But understanding didn't make it easier. The trouble started on a Tuesday that I was in my cubicle, reviewing the quarterly projections, when my phone buzzed with a call from an unknown number. Jack Thompson, speaking. This is Officer Reynolds from the NYPD. I'm calling regarding a complaint filed against you. My blood ran cold. A complaint? What kind of complaint? Allegations of financial fraud. Someone has reported suspicious activity linked to your bank accounts. That's impossible. I haven't done anything, sir. I'm not accusing you of anything. I'm informing you that an investigation has been opened. You'll need to come downtown to make a statement. I can be there this afternoon. Tomorrow morning would be better. 9 a.m. Bring any documentation you have regarding your financial transactions for the past 6 months. He gave me an address and hung up. I stared at my phone, my mind racing. Financial fraud. Suspicious activity. This had Daniel Cross written all over it. I called Sophia immediately. I need to tell you something. What's wrong? I explained the phone call, the allegations, the investigation. She was silent for a long moment. It's Daniel. She said finally, he's escalating. You think he filed a false report? I think he's trying to create enough smoke to convince my family there's fire. Her voice was tight. If he can get you arrested, even falsely, it'll be enough to trigger a clause in our agreement. What clause? If either party is convicted of a crime involving moral turpitude, the agreement becomes void. I'd lose my position. You'd be out of the picture. He can't prove something that isn't true. He doesn't have to prove it. He just has to make it look credible enough that my family feels compelled to act. She paused. I'm coming over, Sophia. You have the Way presentation tomorrow. I don't care about the Way presentation. I care about you. She hung up. She arrived at my apartment 30 minutes later, dressed in sweats and carrying a laptop. Show me everything, she said. Bank statements, credit card bills, tax returns, anything that proves your financial history. I spent the next 2 hours pulling together documents. She reviewed each one with the intensity of a forensic accountant, cross-referencing dates, amounts, and patterns. Here, she pointed at a transaction on my bank statement, a deposit of $5,000. 3 months ago. Do you remember this? I looked at it. That's my bonus from work. And this one? Another transaction, a withdrawal of $2,000. Rent. I pay in cash to my landlord. She nodded, making notes. Good. Those are easy to verify. She continued through the documents, flagging anything that might raise questions. By midnight, she had a comprehensive file organized and ready for the police. This should be enough to clear you, she said. But we need to be proactive. What do you mean? I mean, we need to find out exactly what Daniel is planning. And we need to stop him before he can strike again. How do we do that? She looked at me with cold determination. We fight fire with fire. The next morning, I went to the police station as scheduled. Officer Reynolds was a middle-aged man with tired eyes and a patient demeanor. He asked questions. I answered them. He reviewed the documents Sophia had prepared. He took notes. After 2 hours, he closed his folder. I don't think we have a case here, he said. The evidence you've provided clears up the discrepancies. I'll recommend the complaint be dismissed. Who filed the complaint? I can't disclose that information. Was it Daniel Cross? He hesitated. I can't confirm that. But his hesitation told me everything I needed to know. I called Sophia as soon as I left the station. It's done. They're dismissing the complaint. Good. But that's just the beginning. What do you mean? Daniel has already leaked the story to the business press. There's an article coming out tomorrow linking you to the investigation. How do you know that? Because I have sources in his camp. Her voice was grim. He's trying to damage your reputation before we can clear your name. Can we stop the article? No. But we can control the narrative. She paused. I'm issuing a press release, confirming that the investigation was baseless, announcing that we're pursuing legal action against the person who filed the false complaint, against Daniel, against persons unknown. It gives us room to maneuver without triggering a direct confrontation that you've thought this through. I've had a lot of practice dealing with people who want to destroy me. Her voice softened. I'm sorry you got caught in the crossfire. I chose to be in the crossfire. Remember? I remember. She almost smiled. I love you. Jack. I love you too. The article came out the next morning. Financial fraud investigation targets Chun family. The headline was designed to damage. The content was worse. It painted me as a grifter who had infiltrated the Chun family for personal gain. It cited unnamed sources. It implied wrongdoing without proving anything. By noon, my phone was ringing off the hook. Reporters, colleagues, friends I hadn't spoken to in years. Even my landlord called to ask if I was going to be able to pay rent. Sophia's press release went out at 2 p.m. Statement from Sophia Chun, Vice President of Operations. Chun Capital Park RS. The allegations against Jack Thompson are completely baseless. The NYPD has confirmed that the complaint has been dismissed due to lack of evidence. We are pursuing legal action against those responsible for filing this false report. Jack Thompson is a valued colleague and a respected professional. Any suggestion otherwise is a malicious attempt to damage his reputation and, by extension, the reputation of Chun Capital Partners. That we will not be intimidated by baseless accusations. We will not be swayed by smear campaigns. And we will not allow anonymous sources to dictate the truth. The statement was picked up by every major business outlet within hours. By evening, the tide had begun to turn, but Daniel wasn't finished. 3 days later, I received a letter from corporate HR.re. Investigation into workplace conduct. Dear Mr. Thompson, an anonymous complaint has been filed alleging that you have engaged in inappropriate conduct with a superior, Sophia Chun, that violates company policy regarding workplace relationships, effective immediately. You are placed on administrative leave pending a full investigation. You will be contacted within 5 business days to schedule an interview. I stared at the letter, my hands shaking. They were coming after my job now. Sophia was furious. This is harassment, she said. Pure and simple. Can they fire me? They can try, but they won't succeed. She paced her apartment. Our relationship was disclosed. Approved by HR, documented in writing. There's no violation. Then why are they investigating? Because Daniel has people inside the company. People who owe him favors. People who will do whatever he asks. She stopped pacing. I need to talk to my grandfather. About what? About putting a stop to this. Once and for all, Sophia. Your grandfather already has conditions on our relationship. If you go to him, I know. She met my eyes. But I'm done playing defense. It's time to go on offense. She went to Connecticut that weekend. I stayed in the city, waiting, wondering if I'd have a job or a relationship. When she came back, she returned on Sunday evening. Exhausted but triumphant. It's done. She said that what's done? Daniel Cross has been formally warned by my grandfather. If he continues his campaign against you, he'll be declared persona non grata in the Chun family's business dealings. That's huge. It's temporary. She sat down beside me. My grandfather's protection only extends so far. Daniel still has allies, still has resources, still has reasons to want you gone. So what do? We stay vigilant. We stay together. And we don't let him win. She took my hand. Are you with me? Always. The next few weeks were quieter. The investigation into my workplace conduct was dismissed due to lack of evidence. The press moved on to other scandals. My life slowly returned to something resembling normal, but I knew Daniel was still out there, waiting, plotting, and I knew it was only a matter of time before he struck again. The second attack came on a Friday. I was in a meeting when my phone vibrated with a news alert. Breaking. Chun Capital Partners VP Sophia Chun under investigation for insider trading. I excused myself from the meeting and read the article. It alleged that Sophia had used non-public information to profit from stock trades related to the Way International Partnership. The source was anonymous. The evidence was circumstantial. But the accusation was devastating. I called her immediately. I saw the article. It's Daniel. Her voice was shaking. He's escalated to attacking me directly. What do you need? I need you to stay calm. I need you to trust me. And I need you to know that everything in that article is a lie. I know that I'm going to fight this. I'm going to clear my name. But it's going to get ugly before it gets better. I'm with you. Whatever you need. She was quiet for a moment. I love you. Jack. I love you too. The investigation into Sophia lasted 3 weeks. During that time, she was suspended from her position at Chun Capital Partners. Her access to company systems was revoked. Her reputation was dragged through the mud by anonymous sources and sensational headlines. I stood by her through all of it. I brought her food when she couldn't eat. I held her when she cried. I reminded her, every day, that the truth would prevail, and on the 21st day, it did. The SEC released a statement confirming that the allegations against Sophia were unfounded. The anonymous source had been identified as a former employee of Daniel Cross's firm. The evidence had been fabricated. Sophia was exonerated. She returned to work the following Monday. The office welcomed her back with applause. Her team had rallied behind her. The board had issued a statement of support. Even her grandfather called to congratulate her. But the victory felt hollow. Daniel is still out there. She said that night. He's lost this battle. But he hasn't lost the war. Then we keep fighting, Jack. I don't know if I can keep doing this. Her voice was small. Every time we take a step forward, he pushes us 2 steps back. I'm tired. I pulled her into my arms. Then let me carry you for a while. She looked up at me. What do you mean? I mean you've been fighting this battle alone for too long. Let me help. Let me be your shield. How? I don't know yet. But I'll figure it out. I kissed her forehead. That's what partners do. She smiled. It was the first real smile I'd seen in weeks. Partners. She repeated, partners, the next morning. I made a decision. I called in sick to work. I took the train to Connecticut, and I showed up at the Chun family estate unannounced. Patricia Chun received me in her study. Jack, this is unexpected. I need to talk to you. About Daniel Cross. About the attacks on Sophia. About the investigation. I sat down across from her. I need your help. She studied me for a long moment. Why should I help you? Because I love your granddaughter. Because I'm willing to do whatever it takes to protect her. And because I think you know that Daniel Cross is a threat to your family. Not just to me. She was silent. Then she nodded. Tell me what you need. I spent the next hour laying out a plan. It was risky. It was audacious. It required resources and connections I didn't have. But Patricia Chun had both. When I finished, she looked at me with something approaching respect. That you're willing to risk everything for her. Yes. Even if it means losing everything? Even then. She nodded slowly. Then I'll help you. The plan took 2 months to execute. Patricia provided the resources. I provided the legwork. Together, we built a case against Daniel Cross that would dismantle his empire piece by piece. That we uncovered evidence of tax evasion, fraud, bribery, money laundering, a web of corruption that stretched across 3 continents. And on a Tuesday morning in November, we delivered it all to the FBI. Daniel Cross was arrested at his office. The charges were extensive. Federal crimes, state crimes, international violations. His lawyers argued for bail. The judge denied it. He was held without bond. Pending trial, the news spread like wildfire. Business outlets covered the story around the clock. The Cross family's reputation was destroyed. Their business partners abandoned them. Their empire crumbled in a matter of weeks. Sophia called me when she heard. Did you do this? Your grandmother helped. Jack. Her voice was thick with emotion. You took down Daniel Cross. I took down someone who threatened you. I paused. There's a difference. I love you. I love you too. Daniel's trial began 6 months later. I testified. Sophia testified. Patricia Chun testified. The evidence we'd gathered was presented to the jury. The verdict came back after 3 days of deliberation. Guilty on all counts. That he was sentenced to 15 years in federal prison. The night after the sentencing, Sophia and I stood on her balcony, looking out at the city. It's over. She said. It's over. Daniel is gone. The investigations are behind us. My family trusts you. She turned to face me. We made it. We made it. She kissed me. Now what? Now we live. I pulled her close. We build our life. We grow our careers. We figure out what comes next. That sounds terrifying. It is. I smiled. But I can't think of anyone I'd rather be terrified with. She laughed. I love you. Jack Thompson. I love you too. Sophia Chun. We stood there, holding each other. As the city lights flickered below us, the war was over, and we had won. The next morning, I woke up to find Sophia already awake, sitting on the edge of the bed, holding something in her hands. What's that? She turned to me, and I saw that she was holding a small velvet box. Jack Thompson. She opened the box. Inside was a simple platinum band. I know we've been through hell together. I know we have 2 years left on our agreement. But I also know that I don't want to spend another day without knowing that you're mine. She took my hand. Will you marry me? I stared at her, my heart pounding. Yes. I said, 1,000 times yes. She slipped the ring onto my finger. I kissed her, and for the first time in months, everything felt right. We kept the engagement secret, per the agreement with her grandmother. We couldn't marry until the 2-year partnership with Way International was proven successful. But the ring on my finger was a reminder of what we were fighting for. The partnership thrived. Sophia and Marcus worked together seamlessly, turning their joint venture into one of the most profitable divisions of both families' empires. The numbers spoke for themselves. The results were undeniable. By the end of the first year, Patricia Chin called us to Connecticut. You've proven your point. She said, the partnership is a success. The marriage requirement is no longer necessary. Sophia's face lit up. So we can get married? You can get married. Patricia looked at me. But I have one condition. Name it. You take care of her. Always. I will. She nodded. Then you have my blessing. We were married 6 months later. Small ceremony. Close friends. Immediate family. No business associates. No media. Just us. Sophia wore a simple white dress. I wore the suit I'd bought for the first family dinner. Her grandmother cried. Her grandfather shook my hand and said, welcome to the family. Marcus Way was there. He gave a toast that was surprisingly heartfelt. To Jack and Sophia, he said, raising his glass, who proved that love can conquer even the most complicated family dynamics. Everyone laughed. We danced until midnight, ate until we couldn't move, laughed until our faces hurt, and when it was over, we drove away together, ready to face whatever came next, because whatever it was, we'd face it together. Epilogue. 1 year later, I sat at my desk, reviewing the quarterly reports, when my phone buzzed with a text from Sophia. Sophia, come to the roof. Me. I'm in a meeting, Sophia. Now. I excused myself and took the elevator to the top floor. Sophia was standing by the railing, looking out at the city. She turned as I approached, and I saw that she was holding something in her hands. What's going on? She smiled. I have news. Good news. Life-changing news. She took my hands. We're going to have a baby. I stared at her. A baby? A baby. She laughed. You're going to be a father. I pulled her into my arms, tears streaming down my face. I love you. I said, I love you so much. I love you too. She kissed me. Welcome to the next adventure. We stood there, holding each other. As the sun set over the city, the future stretched out before us, full of possibilities. And for the first time in my life, I wasn't afraid of what it might bring, because I had Sophia, and that was all I needed. The news of the pregnancy changed everything. Sophia and I had been married for 6 months. We were living in a new apartment in Tribeca, a 2-bedroom with floor-to-ceiling windows and a view of the Hudson River. The partnership with Way International was generating record profits. My career at Novatech had taken off after I implemented a new project management system that saved the company $3 million in the first quarter. Life was good, stable, predictable. And then Sophia peed on a stick and everything changed. We told her family at a Sunday dinner in Connecticut. Patricia Chun received the news with characteristic stoicism. She nodded once, set down her chopsticks, and said, good. The family line continues. William Chun, her grandfather, actually smiled. It was the first time I'd seen him do that. A great-grandson. Excellent. Or a great-granddaughter. Sophia said pointedly. Of course. Also excellent. Michael, Sophia's brother, clapped me on the back hard enough to make me stumble. Congratulations, brother. You've officially cemented your place in the family. What does that mean? It means grandmother will never let you go now. You're the father of her great-grandchild. Your family for life. I wasn't sure if that was a threat or a promise. The first trimester was rough. Sophia was hit with morning sickness that lasted all day. She couldn't keep food down. She was exhausted constantly. Her temper, already formidable, became legendary. You did this to me. She accused me one morning. Her head in the toilet. I seem to recall you were an active participant. She threw a towel at me. I caught it. I hate you. You love me. I hate that you're right. I helped her up and guided her back to bed. I'll make you toast. Dry? No butter. The way you've been tolerating it. Fine. She pulled the covers over her head. But I'm still mad at you. I know. The second trimester was better. Sophia's energy returned. Her appetite came back with a vengeance. She started nesting, reorganizing the apartment, researching strollers, reading every parenting book on the market. I came home one day to find her standing in the middle of what was supposed to be the guest room, surrounded by paint samples. What color should the nursery be? Whatever you want. That's not helpful. I'm a supportive husband. I'm supposed to agree with everything you say. She threw a paint sample at me. I caught it. I was getting good at catching things. She threw yellow. I said, looking at the sample, yellow is good. Neutral. Happy. Yellow it is. The third trimester brought the complications. It started with a routine checkup. Sophia's blood pressure was elevated. The doctor ordered additional tests. The tests showed protein in her urine. Preeclampsia. The word hung in the air like a curse. What does that mean? I asked. It means we need to monitor her closely. The doctor said, bed rest, reduced stress, regular checkups. If it progresses, we may need to induce early. Sophia's face was pale. Will the baby be okay? We'll do everything we can to make sure both of you are okay. The doctor's voice was calm, reassuring. But we need to take this seriously. Sophia went on bed rest the next day. I took leave from work to take care of her. Her mother flew in from California to help. Michael called every day to check on her. Even Patricia Chun made the trip from Connecticut to visit. You need to rest, her grandmother said, sitting beside Sophia's bed. The family needs you healthy. I know. Grandmother, the baby needs you healthy. I know. And Jack needs you healthy. Patricia glanced at me. He's been pacing the hallway for 3 hours. Sophia looked at me. Have you been pacing? No, he has. Patricia said. I counted. Sophia smiled. It was the first real smile I'd seen in days. Come here. She said. I walked to her bedside. She took my hand. I'm going to be fine. The baby's going to be fine. We're going to be fine. I know. Then stop pacing. I'll try. Try harder. I kissed her forehead. Yes, ma'am. The induction was scheduled for 37 weeks. The doctors didn't want to risk waiting longer. Sophia's blood pressure was climbing despite the medication. The baby was big enough to survive outside the womb. We arrived at the hospital at 6 a.m. on a Thursday. The labor was long. 18 hours. Sophia was a warrior through every contraction, every push, every moment of pain. I held her hand, wiped her forehead, told her she was amazing. I know. She said between contractions, I'm amazing. You don't have to keep saying it. I'm going to keep saying it anyway. Fine. But don't expect me to thank you. I don't expect anything. She squeezed my hand so hard, I thought my bones would break. At 11:47 p.m. Our daughter was born. She was small, 5 pounds, 11 ounces, but perfect. 10 fingers, 10 toes, a full head of dark hair, lungs that announced her arrival to the entire maternity ward. Sophia held her first. Tears streamed down her face. That she's beautiful. She whispered, just like her mother. Shut up and hold your daughter. I took the baby in my arms. She was so light, so fragile, so incredibly precious. Hello, Emily. I said, I'm your dad. Emily opened her eyes and looked at me. I was gone. Completely, utterly, irrevocably gone. The first few weeks of parenthood were a blur. Sleep deprivation, diaper changes, feedings every 2 hours. Sophia recovered from the delivery slowly, her body healing from the ordeal. I took over as much as I could, night feedings with pumped milk, diaper changes, rocking Emily to sleep. That we were exhausted. We were overwhelmed. We were happier than we'd ever been. Michael came to visit bearing gifts. Too many gifts. Stuffed animals, clothes, a silver rattle that probably cost more than my first car. You're spoiling her. Sophia said that I'm her uncle. It's my job. She's 2 weeks old. She doesn't know what a silver rattle is. She'll learn. Patricia Chin came to visit the following week. She held Emily with the practiced ease of someone who had held many babies in her lifetime. She has your eyes, Patricia said to Sophia, and Jack's nose, and Jack's stubbornness. I can see it already. She's 2 weeks old. How can you see stubbornness? I'm a mother. I know these things. Emily's first month passed in a haze of joy and exhaustion. Then, on a Tuesday afternoon, everything changed. I was at work when my phone rang. Sophia's name flashed on the screen. Hey, I was just about to Jack. Her voice was strange, tense. Something's happened. My blood ran cold. What? Is Emily okay? Emily's fine. It's my grandfather. He's had a stroke. We rushed to Connecticut that evening. William Chun was in the ICU. The stroke had been severe. He was unconscious, hooked up to machines. his body fighting for survival. The family gathered in the waiting room. Patricia sat in a chair by the window, her face unreadable. Michael paced the hallway. Sophia's mother wept quietly. Sophia sat beside me, holding Emily, her eyes fixed on the door to the ICU. He's going to be okay. I said he's 92 years old. Jack, strokes at 92 are not usually okay. I know, but he's strong. He's stubborn. Same thing. She almost smiled. Almost. William Chin held on for 3 days. On the third night, he opened his eyes. Sophia was at his bedside. I was in the waiting room with Emily. Michael came to get me. He's asking for you. For me? Both of you. Sophia and you. And the baby. I carried Emily into the ICU. William Chin looked smaller than I remembered, diminished by the stroke, his body failing him. But his eyes were still sharp. Come closer, he said. His voice was weak, but clear. I stepped closer. Emily in my arms. You have a daughter? Yes. Sir. Good. He looked at Sophia. You did well. Grandfather, listen to me. He raised a trembling hand. I don't have much time. There are things I need to say. Sophia took his hand. I'm listening. The company. Chin Capital Partners. It's yours now. He looked at me. Both of yours. I've updated the will. You'll run it together, grandfather. I don't know anything about running a company like that. You'll learn. His eyes met mine. You've proven yourself. You're family now. Family takes care of family. I will. I promise. Good. He turned back to Sophia. Your grandmother will help. Michael will help. But the decisions are yours. Do you understand? Yes. Grandfather. Good. He closed his eyes. Now let me rest. William Chin died 3 hours later, but he passed peacefully, in his sleep, with Sophia holding his hand. The funeral was a massive affair. Hundreds of people attended. Business leaders, politicians, family friends, all came to pay their respects to the man who had built an empire from nothing. Sophia delivered the eulogy. She spoke about his legacy, his vision, his love for his family. She didn't cry. She was stronger than that. I stood beside her, Emily in my arms, supporting her silently. When the service ended, Patricia Chin approached us. Your grandfather would have been proud of you. She said, thank you, grandmother. Now the real work begins. The transition of power was not smooth. William Chin's death created a power vacuum. Other family members saw an opportunity. Distant cousins, disgruntled executives, old rivals who had been waiting for decades to make their move. Within a week of the funeral, the challenges began. A cousin filed a lawsuit contesting the will. A board member demanded a vote of confidence. An anonymous leak to the press suggested that Sophia was unfit to lead. It was a coordinated attack, and it had been planned for a long time. We have a problem, Sophia said one evening, spreading documents across the dining table. Just one? Several. But this one is the most immediate. She tapped a page. The lawsuit. It's being funded by someone with deep pockets. Who? I don't know yet. But I have my suspicions. Daniel Cross? He's in prison. He has friends, associates, people who owe him favors. She looked at me. This isn't over, Jack. It may never be over. Then we fight. We fight. She nodded. But we need help. Who? Marcus Way. Marcus? I thought the partnership was complete. It is. But he owes me, and his family has resources we need. Will he help? She smiled. He will if I ask nicely. Marcus agreed to meet us at his office in Manhattan. He looked the same as I remembered, polished, confident, slightly amused by the chaos surrounding us. Sophia. Jack, congratulations on the baby. Thank you, Sophia said, and condolences on your grandfather. He was a great man. He was. Marcus leaned back in his chair. So, you need my help? Yes. And what do I get in return? A permanent partnership. Exclusive rights to Chin Capital's distribution network in Southeast Asia. A seat on the board. Marcus raised an eyebrow. That's generous. It's necessary. Sophia met his eyes. I need someone I can trust. Someone who has no stake in the family drama. And you trust me? I trust that your interests align with mine. She paused. For now, Marcus laughed. I appreciate your honesty. He extended his hand. Deal. With Marcus's backing, Sophia began to consolidate power. She identified the family members who were plotting against her. She gathered evidence of their schemes. She presented it to the board in a closed-door session that lasted 6 hours. By the end of the meeting, 3 cousins had been removed from their positions. 2 executives had resigned. The lawsuit was withdrawn. Sophia had won. But the victory came at a cost. You've changed, I said one night. After Emily had gone to sleep. Changed how? You're harder. More ruthless than I have to be. She looked at me. This is the world I live in. Jack. It's kill or be killed that I asked that how you see it. That's how it is. She sat down beside me. I'm not the same woman who kissed you in that conference room. That woman was naive. She thought love could conquer everything. Can it? It can conquer a lot. But it can't conquer corporate politics. It can't conquer family betrayals. It can't conquer the reality of running a billion-dollar empire. Then what's the point? The point is that I have you. I have Emily. I have something worth fighting for. She took my hand. That's what keeps me going. I looked at her. The woman I had fallen in love with. The woman who had flown across the country for me. The woman who had risked everything to be with me. She was still in there. Beneath the armor. Beneath the ruthlessness. I love you. I said I love you too. She kissed me. Now help me figure out how to deal with my cousin Margaret. She's planning something. I can feel it. Margaret Chun was Sophia's second cousin. She was in her 40s. Sharp, ambitious, and resentful of the fact that Sophia had inherited control of the company instead of her. She had been building her own power base for years, cultivating allies, gathering leverage, and now she was ready to strike. The attack came at the quarterly board meeting. Margaret stood and addressed the room. I have evidence that Sophia Chun has been mismanaging company funds. Specifically, she authorized a series of payments to a consulting firm that doesn't exist. She slid a folder across the table. The payments total $3 million. They were made over the past 6 months, and they were approved by Sophia alone. The room erupted. Sophia remained calm. That's a serious accusation. Margaret, that it's a serious crime. Then I'm sure you won't mind if I respond. She pulled out her phone and played a recording. Margaret's voice filled the room. And if we can make it look like she's stealing from the company, the board will have no choice but to remove her. A second voice. Male. Unfamiliar. The payments are already set up. The dummy consulting firm is registered in Delaware. No one will be able to trace it back to us. Margaret's voice again. Good. By this time next month, Sophia will be out. And I'll be in charge. The recording ended. Silence. Margaret's face had gone pale. That's fabricated. It's recorded by your own phone. Sophia stood. You left it in my office after our last meeting. I had it cloned. You can't. I can do whatever I want. Sophia's voice was ice. I'm the CEO, and you're fired. Security escorted Margaret out of the room. The board voted unanimously to support Sophia's actions that night. I found Sophia sitting in the dark, staring out the window. You won. I said, did I? Margaret is gone. The board supports you. The company is yours. It's never mine. She turned to look at me. It's theirs. The families. The boards. The shareholders. I'm just the person in charge of keeping it all together. That's called being a leader. That's called being a prisoner. She stood. I love this company. Jack. I love what my grandfather built. But sometimes I wonder if it's worth it. I asked this about Margaret. It's about everything. She walked to me. I've spent my entire life fighting for this position. Fighting to prove myself. Fighting to keep what's mine. And now that I have it, I'm not sure I want it. Then give it up. I can't. Why not? Because if I give it up, they win. Margaret. Daniel. Everyone who said I wasn't good enough. She looked at me. I can't let them win. Then don't. I took her hands. But don't let them turn you into someone you're not. Don't let them steal the woman I fell in love with. She was silent for a long moment. Then she kissed me. I won't. She said, I promise. The next morning, Sophia made a decision. She called a meeting of the entire company. All departments. All levels. Everyone from the mailroom to the executive suite. She stood at the podium and addressed them. I know there have been rumors, questions, concerns about the direction of this company. She paused. I want to address them directly. She talked for an hour. About her grandfather's vision. About her plans for the future. About the challenges ahead. And then she said something that surprised everyone. I'm not going to do this alone. She gestured to me. My husband, Jack, will be joining the company as Chief Operating Officer. He will oversee day-to-day operations. He will report directly to me. And he will have the authority to make decisions in my absence. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. I know what some of you are thinking. That this is nepotism. That he's only here because he's married to me. She looked at me. But I've seen what Jack can do. I've seen him turn around failing projects. I've seen him lead teams through crises. I've seen him stand up to people who tried to destroy him. She turned back to the room. He's earned this position. And he will prove it to you. I started my new role the following Monday. The first week was chaos. Learning the ropes, meeting the teams, understanding the complex web of relationships and politics that define Chun Capital Partners. But I had Sophia. I had her guidance, her support, her belief in me. And I had Emily, my daughter. My reason for fighting. By the end of the first month, I had implemented new systems that streamlined operations. I had resolved conflicts that had been simmering for years. I had earned the respect of people who had been skeptical of my appointment. Sophia was right. I could do this. 6 months passed. The company thrived under our joint leadership. Profits soared. Morale improved. The family factions that had opposed Sophia were gradually marginalized or converted. We were a team, in business and in life. And then, on a rainy Tuesday in October, everything changed again. Sophia came home from work early. That was unusual. She never came home early. I was in the nursery, reading to Emily. When I heard the front door open. I in here. I called. She appeared in the doorway. Her face was pale. Her hands were trembling. What's wrong? She held up a document. I found this in my office. Tucked inside a file I was reviewing. I took it from her. It was a letter. Typewritten. No signature. Sophia, you think you've won. You think the fight is over. But it's just beginning. I know what you did. I know about the payments. I know about the cover-up. If you want to keep your secrets, you'll do exactly what I say. Expect further instructions. Your friend. I read it twice. Who sent this? I don't know. Have you shown it to anyone? No. Only you. I looked at her. The fear in her eyes. The uncertainty. Whatever this is. I said, we'll face it together. She nodded slowly. Together. The next day, the second letter arrived. This time, it was delivered to our apartment. Hand-delivered. Slipped under the door. The instructions were specific. Transfer $5 million to the following account. You have 48 hours. If you involve the authorities. The evidence goes to the press. If you tell anyone. The evidence goes to the press. If you don't comply. The evidence goes to the press. Below the instructions was an account number. Offshore. Untraceable. Sophia looked at me. What do? We find out who's behind this. How? We set a trap. The trap took 3 days to set. I worked with a private investigator recommended by Marcus Way. We traced the account number to a shell company in the Cayman Islands. The shell company was owned by another shell company in Panama. The trail was designed to be impossible to follow. But nothing is impossible when you have resources. On the third day, the PI called with a name. It's Margaret Chin. I stared at the phone. Margaret? She's been fired. She's been disgraced. She's also been planning this for months. She set up the blackmail scheme before she was fired. The letters were timed to arrive after her departure. To make it look like someone else. Exactly. I thanked the PI and hung up. Sophia was watching me. Margaret. Of course. She shook her head. I should have known. What do? We end this. Her eyes hardened. Once and for all. We confronted Margaret at her home in Greenwich. She opened the door. Surprised to see us. Sophia. Jack. This is unexpected. Cut the act. Margaret. Sophia pushed past her into the house. We know about the blackmail. Margaret's face flickered. Then she smiled. I have no idea what you're talking about. We have proof. The account numbers. The shell companies. The letters. You have nothing. We have enough. Sophia pulled out her phone. And I have a recording of this conversation. Margaret's smile faded. You're bluffing. Am I? Sophia held up the phone. Try me. Margaret was silent for a long moment. Then she laughed. Fine. You caught me. She walked to the bar and poured herself a drink. But it doesn't matter. I have copies of everything. If anything happens to me, the evidence goes to the press. What evidence? The evidence of your crimes. Dear cousin. She took a sip. You think I didn't notice? The payments you authorized. The favors you called in. The corners you cut. Those were business decisions. Those were crimes. Margaret set down her glass. And I have proof. Sophia was silent. I stepped forward. What do you want? Control of the company. Half the shares. A seat on the board. She smiled. And Sophia's resignation. Not going to happen. Then I go to the press and ruin yourself in the process? You're a chin too. Margaret, if the company falls, you fall with it. She hesitated. I pressed my advantage. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to destroy the evidence. You're going to sign a non-disclosure agreement. You're going to leave the country and never come back? And if I refuse, then we go to the police. We press charges for blackmail. We make sure you spend the next decade in prison. She looked at Sophia. You would do that to family. You tried to destroy my family. Sophia's voice was cold. You're not family anymore. Margaret was silent. Then she nodded. Fine. I'll take the deal. Margaret left the country the next week. She moved to Switzerland, where she lived comfortably on a trust fund that Sophia graciously allowed her to keep. The threat was neutralized, but the experience changed Sophia. That you're different. I said one night. Different how? Quieter. More thoughtful that I've been thinking. She turned to me. About the future. About what I want. And I've decided something. She took my hands. I'm stepping down as CEO. I stared at her. What? I'm going to appoint Michael as my successor. He's ready. He's capable. And he doesn't have the baggage I have. Sophia, this is your legacy. Your grandfather's company. My grandfather's company. Not mine. She smiled. I've spent my whole life fighting for this position. And now that I have it, I realize it's not what I want. What do you want, you? Emily. A normal life. She paused. I want to wake up in the morning and not have to worry about board meetings and corporate espionage. I want to take our daughter to school and pick her up. I want to grow old with you without constantly looking over my shoulder. Are you sure? I've never been more sure of anything. I pulled her into my arms. Then let's do it. That Sophia's resignation was announced the following month. The board accepted it with regret. Michael was appointed as her successor. The transition was smooth, orderly, exactly as Sophia had planned. The farewell party. Patricia Chin approached us. That you're giving up the throne. She said that I'm choosing my family. Patricia looked at me. You've been a good influence on her. Thank you. Grandmother. Don't thank me yet. I haven't decided if it's a compliment. She walked away. Sophia laughed. That's her way of saying she approves. I know that we moved out of the city 6 months later. A house in Westchester. Big yard. Good schools. Quiet neighborhood. Sophia started a consulting business that she ran from home. I took a position at a local tech company that was small enough to feel meaningful and large enough to be stable. Emily started preschool. She made friends. She learned to read. She grew taller every day, and we were happy. On Emily's 5th birthday, we threw a party in the backyard, bouncy castle, face painting, cake that Sophia had spent 3 days making. Michael came with his wife and kids. Patricia Chun made the trip from Connecticut. Even Marcus Way sent a gift, a giant stuffed panda that Emily immediately fell in love with. At the end of the day, after the guests had left and Emily had been put to bed, Sophia and I sat on the porch, watching the sunset. Happy? She asked, ecstatic. Really? Really? I took her hand. I have you. I have Emily. I have a life I never could have imagined. Neither could I. She leaned against me. Remember when you broke up with me via text message? I try not to. I think about it sometimes. How different everything would be if you hadn't come to that meeting. That I would have found you eventually. Would you? I would have searched the entire city until I found you. I kissed her. You're worth searching for. She smiled. I love you. Jack Thompson. I love you too. Sophia Chin Thompson. We sat there, holding each other. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the future stretched out before us, bright and full of possibility. And for the first time in my life, I wasn't afraid of what it might bring, because I had her. And that was all I needed. 5 years passed. 5 years of suburban peace. 5 years of school runs and soccer games and family vacations to places we'd only dreamed of visiting. 5 years of building a life that felt, for the first time, truly ours. Emily grew from a toddler into a bright, curious child with her mother's intelligence and her father's stubbornness. She started kindergarten, made friends, developed a passion for drawing that filled our refrigerator with artwork. Sophia's consulting business flourished. She worked with startups and established companies, helping them navigate the complexities of growth and change. She was good at it, better than she'd been at running the family empire. Because this time she was doing it on her own terms. I stayed at the tech company, rising through the ranks to become VP of operations. It wasn't the Chun family empire, but it was mine. I had earned it. We were happy. And then the past came knocking. It was a Tuesday afternoon in October that I was in a meeting when my phone buzzed with a call from an unknown number. I ignored it. It buzzed again. And again. I excused myself and stepped into the hallway. Jack Thompson. Mr. Thompson, this is Detective Harris from the New York Police Department. My blood ran cold. What's this about? I'm calling regarding Daniel Cross. Daniel Cross is in prison. He was in prison. The detective paused. He escaped 3 days ago. The world tilted. What? He was being transferred between facilities. The transport vehicle was ambushed. 2 guards were killed. Cross escaped. Have you found him? Not yet. We believe he may be heading to New York. Given his history with your family, we felt you should know that I leaned against the wall. My heart pounding. Is there anything we can do? Stay vigilant. Increase security. Contact us immediately if you see anything suspicious. He paused. Mr. Thompson, Daniel Cross has nothing to lose. He's already serving a life sentence. If he's coming for you, he's coming for revenge. I called Sophia immediately. We need to talk. What's wrong? Daniel Cross escaped from prison. Silence. Sophia, I'm coming home. Pick up Emily from school. Don't let her out of your sight. Already on it. I love you. I love you too. We gathered in our living room that evening. Emily was upstairs, asleep, unaware of the danger lurking somewhere in the darkness. Sophia sat across from me, her face pale, her hands wrapped around a cup of tea she hadn't touched. He's coming for us. She said that we don't know that. Yes, we do. She looked at me. Daniel Cross doesn't forgive. He doesn't forget. He's been in prison for 5 years. Planning this. He's coming for revenge. Then we prepare how? We can't fight a ghost, we can fight smarter. I took her hands. We hire security. We install cameras. We notify the police. We do everything we can to protect our family. And if it's not enough, then we run. Run where? Somewhere he can't find us. She was silent for a long moment. Then she nodded. Okay. Let's prepare. The next week was a blur of activity. Security cameras installed around the property. Motion sensors. Reinforced locks. A security detail assigned to Emily's school. Sophia worked with a private investigator to track Daniel's movements. He had been spotted in Ohio, then Pennsylvania, then New Jersey. He was moving east, toward us. The first sign of trouble came on a Thursday night. I was in the garage, putting away tools, when I noticed something odd. The door to the backyard was slightly ajar. I always locked it. I pulled out my phone and checked the security camera feed. Nothing. The cameras showed an empty yard, but the door was open. I called Sophia. Lock the doors. Don't open them for anyone. What's wrong? Someone's been here. I searched the property. The backyard. The side gates. The front porch. Nothing. No signs of forced entry. No footprints. No evidence. But I knew he had been there, watching, waiting. The second sign came 3 days later. Emily's school called. A stranger had been seen near the playground during recess. He matched Daniel's description. Sophia picked Emily up immediately. We kept her home for the rest of the week. He's getting bolder. Sophia said that night. He's sending a message. What message? That he can get to us whenever he wants. I looked at her. The fear in her eyes. The determination. Then we stopped waiting for him to make a move. What do you mean? We go on offense. I called Detective Harris the next morning. I have a plan. I'm listening. Daniel Cross is coming for my family. We know that. He's been spotted near our home, near our daughter's school. He's testing our defenses. What are you proposing? I'm proposing we use me as bait. Silence. Mr. Thompson, that's extremely dangerous. I know. But it's the only way to draw him out. That he could kill you. That he could kill my wife or my daughter if we don't stop him. I paused. I'd rather it be me. The detective was quiet for a long moment. I'll need to clear this with my superiors. Do it. The plan was simple. I would go to a location where Daniel was likely to strike. A public place, but isolated enough that he would feel confident. The police would be nearby, ready to move. Sophia and Emily would be at a secure location, protected by a security detail. I would be the bait. The night before the operation, Sophia and I sat on the porch. Don't do this. She said that I have to. There has to be another way. There isn't. I took her hand. Daniel won't stop until he's dead or captured. I'd rather it be captured. And if something goes wrong, then you take Emily and you run. You go somewhere he can't find you. You live your life. I don't want to live my life without you. You won't have to. I kissed her. I'm coming back. I promise. The operation was set for Saturday morning. The location was a warehouse district in Brooklyn, abandoned buildings, empty streets. Perfect for an ambush. I arrived at 10 a.m. Alone. As planned. I walked through the district. My heart pounding. My senses on high alert. Minutes passed. Nothing. Then I heard footsteps behind me. I turned. Daniel Cross stood 20 feet away, a gun in his hand. Hello? Jack. Daniel, you look good. Suburban life agrees with you. Let's skip the pleasantries. You're here to kill me. I'm here to stop you. Let's get this over with. He laughed. Always so direct. That's what I never liked about you. You don't like anything about me. True. He raised the gun. Any last words? Yeah. I looked him in the eye. The police are surrounding this area. You're not getting out of here alive. He smiled. I don't plan to. He pulled the trigger. The bullet hit me in the shoulder. I fell backward. Pain exploding through my body. Daniel walked toward me. Gun still raised. Goodbye? Jack. A shot rang out. But it didn't come from Daniel's gun. He stumbled forward. A look of surprise on his face. A red stain spread across his chest. Behind him stood Sophia. A smoking gun in her hands. I told you, she said, her voice shaking. No one hurts my family. Daniel collapsed. Police swarmed the area. Paramedics rushed to my side. The last thing I saw before I lost consciousness was Sophia's face, hovering above me, tears streaming down her cheeks. Stay with me, she said. Please, stay with me. I woke up in a hospital bed 3 days later. Sophia was asleep in a chair beside me. Emily curled up in her lap. I tried to speak. My throat was dry. Sophia, her eyes snapped open. Jack. She was at my side instantly. You're awake. What happened? You were shot. The bullet went through your shoulder. You lost a lot of blood, but you're going to be okay. Daniel, dead. Her voice was flat. I killed him. I looked at her. The woman who had flown across the country for me. The woman who had risked everything to be with me. The woman who had killed a man to save my life. Are you okay? She laughed. It was a broken sound. I don't know. I killed a man. Jack. I shot him in the back. You saved my life. I killed a man. I reached out and took her hand. You did what you had to do. You protected our family. She looked at me, tears in her eyes. I love you. I love you too. The investigation concluded that Sophia's actions were justified self-defense and no charges were filed. Daniel Cross's body was returned to his family for burial. His reign of terror was finally over. 6 months later, we sat on our porch, watching the sunset. Emily was inside, doing homework. The house was peaceful, safe. It's over. Sophia said that it's finally over. She leaned against me. What do we do now? Whatever we want. Really? Really? I kissed her. We've earned it. She smiled. Then let's go on vacation. Somewhere warm. Somewhere with beaches and no extradition treaties. Deal. We sat there, holding each other. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the future stretched out before us, bright and full of possibility, and for the first time in years, there was no shadow looming over us that we were free. 10 years later, Emily graduated from high school. She was valedictorian, just like her mother had been. She gave a speech about perseverance, about family, about the importance of never giving up. Sophia cried through the entire thing. I sat in the front row, watching my daughter, pride swelling in my chest. After the ceremony, Emily found us in the crowd. Mom, Dad. She hugged us both. Thank you. For what? For everything. For never giving up on each other. For showing me what love looks like. Sophia pulled her close. We would do it all again. Every moment. I know. Emily smiled. That's what makes you amazing. That night, Sophia and I sat on the porch, just like we had so many years ago. She's grown up so fast. Sophia said, she has that. Do you remember when she was born? She was so small. I remember. And now she's off to college, building her own life. She is. Sophia leaned against me. Time flies. It does. She was quiet for a moment. Jack? Yeah. Thank you. For what? For everything. For choosing me. For staying with me through all the chaos. For giving me Emily. I kissed her. Thank you for flying across the country for me. Thank you for kissing me in front of 20 people. Thank you for never giving up on us. She smiled. Best decision I ever made. We sat there, holding each other. As the stars came out, the future stretched out before us, bright and full of possibility. And for the first time in my life, I knew exactly where I belonged. Right here, with her, forever.